Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto finds the wolf summoning contract harem. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Sliver Lynx, link in the description and support writer. Let's start the video. A new companion. A storm rages over the village of Konoha. People are running around the streets trying to get home to get out of the rain. While others have a very important task on their minds, well, important to them anyway. To the more civilized part of humanity, you wouldn't think of creating a mob to attack and try to kill a child, but that's exactly what they are about to do, or try to, at least, because their target knows they are coming for him and he won't make it easily for them to find him. Last, where did that demon go? We have to find him and kill him. Someone shouts from the crowd. They cheer and begin separating into groups to search the in every corner of the village. In a different part of the village, a 6-year-old boy is heading for the Hokage monument at full speed, hoping none of the villagers are able to find him. Why is he running, you ask? Well, he is running because he is the Jinchuriki of the 10-tailed demon wolf. His name is Naruto Uzumaki, and he is hated by most of the village, ignored by the rest, and only loved by a small handful of people. As Naruto nears the top of the Hokage monument, he is caught off guard by a noise coming from the bushes to his right. Thinking it was the villagers, he huddles close to the ground waiting for the hits and the insults to come. After a few seconds of feeling nothing but the rain and cold air, he looks around and sees no one there. He catches his breath and sighs in relief. Man, that was scary. I thought it was the villagers for a second there. He then starts walking into the forest, never noticing the yellow eyes looking at him from one of the bushes. As he is walking through the forest, he hears another noise coming from his right, this time, scaring him. He immediately takes off running as fast as he can. After about 30 minutes of running, he spots what looks like a cave. He decides to head for it to get some shelter from the rain and whatever is out there following him. He makes it inside and sits down, putting his knees to his chest, then starts to cry out his pain. Why do they hurt me? What did I ever do to them? He cries out. As he continues to cry, he doesn't notice the small creature coming toward him from one of the bushes. It comes into the cave, then stops right next to Naruto, then lets out a low bark. Naruto jumps inches at the sound of the bark, clutching his chest as he tries to calm himself. He hears the same bark again and looks down. That's when he sees a small silver and black wolf pup. He chuckles to himself. Hey there, you almost gave me heart attack. He says after he composes himself. The little wolf pup just hops onto his lap, then starts to lick away his tears. After licking them away, it hops off of his lap, then sit down, just wagging a tail happily. Thanks for that, I need it. So what are doing out here? What about your family? They must be worried about you. He asks. The wolf pup just shakes its head in a no motion. So you have no family? Then you're just like me. I don't have a family either. He says. The wolf pups looks down in sadness. But hey, you know what, how about we become family to each other? Hearing this, wolf pup quickly looks into Naruto's eyes and then pouches on him, licking his face. Haha, cut it out, come on, stop it. He says, then he grabs the little wolf pup on his face, then cradles it in his arms. Come on, let's get some sleep and wait out the storm. He says. The little wolf pup just nods and they both fall asleep. Hokage Tower. Hokage's office. The third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, is using his Tsumegain no Jutsu to search for his favorite grandson. So far he has found nothing yet. Come on Naruto, where could you be? He says as frantically searches through the village. Southeast sector of the village, the young matriarch of the Inyazuka clan, Tsume Inyazuka, and her companion Kurumaru are also searching for our blonde hero. Hey Kurumaru, did you get his scent yet? She says as they heads north towards the northern part of the village. Nope, I can't smell a thing in this fucking storm. How about you? He replies. No, I can't smell anything either. Fuck, of all the days for this to happen, it had to be today of all days. She replies as she looks up at the storm over the village. She then comes to a stop on top of the Hokage Tower and begins to wait. 5 minutes later, 4 people suddenly appear at Tsume's position. Those 4 turn out to be Rin Inyazuka, Kakashi Haddock, Anko Mitarashi, and Ibiki Marino. Hey you guys, did you have any luck? She asks them. We couldn't find him anywhere in the village. I have my nin dogs out looking for him. I can barely get any sense in this storm. Kakashi replies. It's fucking with your nose too, damn it, I hate this fucking storm. I can't smell a thing, and so can't Kurumaru. Tsume replies. Well, at least those fucking mobs gave up on chasing him. I swear each one of those stupid villagers deserves some time with me in the torture and interrogation cells. Ibiki replies with one of those grins that'll send shivers up and down your spine. Oh, you get to torture and I don't? That's no fair if you ask me. Anko replies in a childish pout. Don't worry Anko, I'll let you have half of them, okay? Ibiki replies, trying to appease her. Yeah, I get to torture someone, alright. I'm going to make them regret the day they ever thought about touching my Naruto-kun. Anko relies with a grin that put Ibiki's to shame. Okay Anko, we get it, you have a crush on him. Rin says in a poking funny type of voice. Before Anko can say anything, they are interrupted by another visitor. It is Shikaku Nara, the Jonin commander of the Hidden Leaf and representative of Nara clan in the Shinobi Council. Come on you guys, the third Hokage would like to speak with the six of us. Before turning around and shunshin away. The others just follow, also doing shunshin. When they get inside the Hokage's tower, they are handed some towels to dry themselves off. When they arrive at the Hokage's door, Tsume knocks and hears the Hokage say enter. Once everyone is inside, the Hokage is still looking for Naruto with his crystal ball. After a few minutes he sighs and stops. I've searched the entire village and not a trace, and it would seem all of you have had as much luck as I have at finding him. That would be correct, Hokage-sama. We have searched everywhere in the village and have found nothing as well. Kakashi replies. Looking down at the floor, Tsume feels utmost rage at the villagers for being so stupid. How can anyone think that a child is a demon for 6 years and not notice that they are wrong? I think that he is not in the village anymore, he must be somewhere in the surrounding area. Shikaku points out. I think you're right, Shikaku, we've already combed over the entire village and have found nothing. That would only leave us with the outside of the village to search. Kakashi replies. Okay, unfortunately we are going to have to resume searching tomorrow. The storm is getting worse by the minute, it seems. It's getting dangerous, so as much as I don't like saying this, I believe we should wait till the weather clears up tomorrow. Till then I want all of you to return home, is that understood? The Hokage replies with a heavy heart. Mostly everyone nods, but Tsume just shunshin out of there. Seeing this, Kuromeru just lowers his head and sighs, don't worry, I'll keep an eye on her. And with that he shunshin away as well. The third Hokage pinches his brow for a couple of seconds, then pulls out his pipe, lights it, then take a deep drag, then exhales the smoke out in a long sigh. Kakashi, call back your nin dogs, tell them we'll continue in the morning, and Rin makes sure he gets home. We will continue the search at 6:30 am sharp, is that understood? Oh, and one more thing, I'll be watch you guys get home, so don't even think about going off and looking for Naruto. After he got nods from the 5 of them, you're dismissed. They all shunshin out of his office. The Inyazuka compound. Hana Inyazuka is waiting for news about Naruto since he first disappeared. She is in her room when she hears the front door open. She bolts right out of her room and down the stairs. When she makes it to the living room, she sees her mother sitting in the living room with her knees in her chest and Kuromeru laying right next to her. When she kneels right next to her, she can see all the sadness in her eyes. Mom, did you find him? Tsume just shake her head no. Hana just sighs. We are going to continue the search tomorrow in morning, hopeful he can last that long until we get to him. Tsume says in a tried voice. Come on mom, cheer up, we will find him, and when we do we'll cook him the biggest meal he has ever had. Hana says, trying to cheer up her mother. Yeah, you're right, he's going to be pretty hungry when we find him. Can you give Kuromeru a bath, then get him to bed, and while I take a shower. She says as she gets up and walks downstairs to her room while Kuromeru and Hana head down a long passage toward the kennels to take a warm bath. As Tsume exits the shower, she walks into her room and puts on a fresh pair of panties, then curls into her bed. I hope you are okay, Naruto-kun. And with that she fall asleep. Time skips 6 hours. The cave. As the sun begins to rise over the horizon, the storm is passing, and Naruto is still asleep in the cave. The wolf pup is also asleep. Naruto's eyes begin to twitch, and he opens them a little to see the wolf pup from yesterday still asleep in his arm. A small smile appears on Naruto's face. He turns his head to the right and sees the sun begin to shine. Looks like it finally stopped raining. That's good, maybe Tsume-chan and the other will be able to find me. I bet you anything Kuromeru was pissed yesterday because he couldn't smell anything, even his own butt. He giggles at this. He feels the wolf pup stirring in his arms, so he looks down and see it yawning. Well, hello there, did you sleep well? The pup just nods its head. Yes, I did, thanks for holding me. Naruto's eyes widen. Wait, did I just understand it, and it is a she? He thinks to himself. Wait, I can understand you. Naruto says in a shocked voice. You can? Whoa, that amazing. She replies in an equally shocked voice. So what's your name? My name is Naruto Uzumaki. My name is Kimiko. I hope we can be great friends, and I'm sorry about scaring you yesterday. She replies. Don't worry about it, Kimiko, I forgive you. So what do you want to do now that storm is over? Kimiko pauses to think, then looks around trying to figure out what to do. I found something cool near the northern mountains, what to go check it out? Naruto nods. Yeah, what is it? It looks like a big shrine of some sort. It has all these wolf designs on it, they look so cool. She replies, that sounds so cool, I want to check it out now, come let's go. And with that they head off, going farther north towards the nearby mountains. Time skip 3 hours later. Northern Shrine. As Naruto and Kimiko make it to the shrine, they see one of the biggest shrines ever. It has to be 30 feet tall and 50 feet wide. There are wolf designs lining the building. The doors have 2 of the biggest wolf he has ever seen carved on them. As they come closer, Naruto starts to feel weird. Man, this is getting weird, it feels like I've been here before. He thinks. He hears Kimiko bark and looks down. Let's go check inside, maybe we'll find something cool inside. She says, then heads towards the big doors. Hey, wait up Kimiko, let me open the doors. He says as he follows her towards the doors. When they get to them he starts to push on one of them and find that it is easier to push. Then he thought, wow, I thought I wasn't going to be able to open such a heavy door, but it's so easy. As he opens the door, a gust of wind rushes past him. He coughs as he walks in. The inside was as amazing as the outside. There are wolf statues that reach toward the ceiling, there are designs on the walls, and all of them are beautiful and elegant. There are 3 doorways leading into different passages and rooms. As he continues to look around he sees Kimiko head off into the doorways on the right, all the while barking. "Hey Kimiko, get back here, I don't think it's safe in here," he says as he runs after her. "Come on Naruto, there might be something good in here," she barks back. He keeps following her barks for what seem like forever till he spots what looks like an exit. When he gets to it, he comes upon a gigantic room. It is decorated the same manner as the room he just came from, but this one was bigger than that one, and it had what looked like a scrolls on a platform. When he gets close to it he sees an engraving on the platform. He clears away some of the dust on the platform and he begins to read it. "You who have ventured into this place, we give you the scroll. Above it is the wolf summoning scroll. The wolf summons are very loyal to whoever manages to gain their respect and trust. You must remember that wolves pride themselves on loyalty, trust, and respect. They will protect their pack mates with their lives if need be. If you wish to become a wolf summoner, then you must gain the respect of the wolf boss. Open your mind and let them see in your soul." So this is a summoning contact. I guess I should sign it then, but wait, how I sign one of these things again? I think Kakashi Nai-chan and Itachi Nai-chan told me once, but I can't really remember what they said. He thinks. He then looks over to Kimiko, who is sit right next to the platform. "Hey Kimiko, do you know how to sign a contract?" Kimiko nods. "Yes I do Naruto, all you have to do is sign your name and blood inside the scroll, then you will need to perform the hand signs. The amount of chakra you use during the summoning will determine how big the summoning will be." "Wow, that's so cool. Hey wait, how do you know the Kimiko?" Naruto asks. "Oh, I pick a few bits of information since I've been around this village, but I think you should try this outside Naruto. We need to summon the wolf boss and seeing how it will be big." Kimiko replies. "Oh okay then, let's go try it out then." He cheers. Flashback in Yazuka compound 3 hours earlier. Tsume had gotten up extremely early to go to the Hokage tower. As she heads out she takes Kuromaru, Hana, and 3 Himeru brothers along with her. After 10 minutes they make it to the Hokage tower. They sign in at the front desk, then proceed towards the Hokage's office. When they open the door they find 2 other waiting. It is Itachi Uchiha and Makoto Uchiha. They, along with Makoto other son Sasuke, are the only Uchiha in the Uchiha clan that are friendly towards Naruto. Itachi loves Naruto like a little brother. Sasuke and Naruto have a weird friendship. On the outside it might seem like they hate each other, but it's more of a facade than anything else. They see each other as true brothers, even though they are not related by blood. Then there is Makoto Uchiha. She sees Naruto like her 3rd son, but it may be something much more. "Hello Tsume, I heard that Naruto disappeared yesterday, so I decide to come and help with the search." Makoto explains. "I just got back from a mission yesterday night. That's when I heard from the 3rd Hokage that he went missing, so I went and told my mom and Sasuke and now we're here." Itachi throws in his input. Seeing as Itachi and Makoto decide to join in the search that brings the total up 18, the rest should be arriving soon. Sarutobi says in a tried voice. So 18 people actually gave a damn about Naruto's well-being. How that shows how much the village loves one of its own. Tsume growls out angrily. "That would be correct Tsume, only 20 people in this sorry excuse for village actually care for Naruto." Shikaku replies as he closes the door behind him. "Oh, you're here Shikaku, and would you mind telling me who the other 2 are?" Tsume asks. "That would be Tuchi and AM from the Ichiraku Ramen bar," Kakashi says as he and Rin climb in through the window. Looks like Kakashi and Rin are here too. That only leaves Sarutobi is interrupted by the door being kicked open, and who kicked it open? Well, that would be none other than Anko. And I mean, come on, who else do you expect to cause a scene even when it's a serious occasion? "I hope we're not late you guys, it took us a while to get here," she exclaims. She walks in with Ibiki and the rest, then Ibiki begins working on the door. As she looks around and sees everyone shaking their heads, what she asks Anko, "If you ever break down my door again, I'm taking the repair costs out of your salary, is that clear?" Sarutobi exclaims, adding a little bit killer intent at the end to make it final. "Yes, Hokage-sama," she yells out in fear. "Okay now then, let's get on with the search mission, Shikaku if you will," Sarutobi says, motioning for Shikaku to take the floor. Alright, now as you all know, yesterday around 7:30 PM a mob formed in the east section of the village. Around 50 of them chased after Naruto. When they lost him near the middle of the village, they spread out in groups of 4 to cover more ground. From the information we have, it looks like 7 Chunin and 6 Junin were leading this mob. So far we are able to catch 10 of the 13 ninja involved in this mob. There are 10 ninja now waiting in the torture and interrogation cells, and I believe Ibiki that they need a little bit one-on-one time with you, don't you think? Shikaku explains. Ibiki, I give you my blessing to do with them what you will, make them understand what happens when you mess with the people we care about, just don't kill them, okay? Sarutobi adds. The grin on Ibiki's face makes everyone in the entire village shudder uncontrollably for a few seconds. Oh, don't worry Hokage-sama, I'll make them regret the day they were born. He says. Hey, why does he get to torture them and I can't? Anko says in a childish fit. Because Anko, you can't control yourself when you are torturing someone who hurt Naruto. The last few times I let you torture somebody from one of those mobs, they nearing died from the torture you gave them. Sarutobi explains. Seeing the truth in his statement, Anko says, touche Hokage-sama. Alright, now let's get back on track. After we searched the entire village yesterday we found nothing, so Shikaku suggested that maybe he is not in the village anymore. He could in the surrounding area hiding from the mobs that are after him. He pauses to let it sink in before continuing. Now I want Shikaku to take Iruka and some of Kakashi's nin dogs and sweep the southern forests around the village. I want Kakashi to take Rin and her dog and the rest of Kakashi's nin dogs and sweep west of the village. I will be taking Hana, her dogs, Ibiki, and Itachi and sweeping the eastern forests, and Naotsum I want you to take Kurumeru, Anko, Mikoto, Kurenai and sweep the northern forests. Take these mix with you guys. He starts handing them out to everyone. Once everyone has gotten one alright dismissed, they then shunshin to look for our blonde hero. Time skip present time outside the northern shrine. When Naruto finishes writing his name in the scroll he then flashes through the hand signs, then says Kuchiyus no Jutsu. A large plume of smoke rises from the ground. When it dissipates, the boss of the wolves is right in front of Naruto. It is about 30 feet tall, has gray and black fur, razor-sharp teeth and claws. It has yellow eyes with silted pupils. Its ears are most gray with black tips. Its 9 gray and black tip tails are swaying back and forth. It looks down to see Naruto and Kimiko stand in front of it. Its eyes widen at seeing Kimiko. Is that you, Kimiko Wani-sama? What you doing here? It's been like 6 years since I last saw you. The wolf boss says happily. Hey Shizuka-chan, how's it going? I see you became the wolf boss since last I saw you. Kimiko replies. Wait Kimiko, I thought you said you didn't have any family. Actually Naruto, we're not related, she is more like what Kakashi and Itachi are to you. She explains. How do you know about them? He yells in a shocked voice. That's because Naruto, I've been with you for 6 years now. She says in a sad voice. What do you mean by that? We just met yesterday. Kimiko lowers her head then sighs. Looks like I'm going to have to show you, then we will be right back Shizuka-chan. Shizuka just nods. Kimiko jumps onto Naruto's shoulder and touches her tail to his head. This might hurt a little Naruto, I'm sorry. With that Naruto's vision goes black as he lands on his back. Inside Naruto's mindscape, Naruto wakes up in a dark sewer. His head is pounding and he is wondering where he is. Hearing something in front of him, he walks towards it. As he gets close it sounds like whimpering. He comes into a huge room and he hears the whimpering come from behind the huge bars near the back of the room. He stopped in front of the huge bars that have the kanji for seal on them. Naruto looks inside and sees a giant gray and black 10-tailed wolf. Naruto-kun, please forgive me, it said over and over. Why, you did nothing wrong to me, he says. But I did, I'm the reason the villagers attack you every day and say bad stuff about you. It says. You're the 10-tailed wolf who attacked the village 6 years ago, he says in a shocked voice. Yes, I am Naruto-kun. It says that begins to whimper again. Hey, do you have another form like a human one? Without says anything, the wolf disappears in a cloud of smoke when it's gone. Naruto see one of the most beautiful women he has ever seen in his life. She was about 5'7" tall and has long gray hair with black tips. She has 2 wolf ears on the top of her head, they are also gray with black tips. An hergless figure with medium to large D-cup breasts. She has yellow eyes with slit pupils, and she wears the exact same thing as Kurenai, but she has gray trench coat with black flames. For a second he stands there too amazed to move. She looks beautiful. He thinks, and then he snaps out of it and walks towards her. When he reaches her he pulls her into a big hug. I forgive you, Kimiko-chan. Kimiko is shocked that Naruto did this. Why are you forgiving me? I am the cause of all your pain because of me, your whole village hates you. She says. Kimiko-chan, can I ask you something? He says. What is it, Naruto-kun? Did you come to the village 6 years ago on your own accord? Did you come to the Hidden Leaf village with the intent to kill everyone in the village? Please answer me. This question shocks her. No, Naruto-kun, I didn't come here on my own accord. 6 years ago I was nearing the Mountain of Wolves, it is the place the wolf summons live. Before I made it to the mountain I was attacked by 2 men from your village. I was about to fight back when one of them put me under a genjutsu. I remember the one who put me under his genjutsu had the Sharingan in his right eye. I couldn't tell what the other man looked like though, but I do remember his smell, he smelled like snakes. She explains. I forgive you, Kimiko, the attack on the village was not your fault. I don't blame you at all for what happened. He says as touches her cheek with his hand. She laughs a little as she wipes away her tears. You're so kind, Naruto-kun, if you keep this up I might fall in love with you. she says. Naruto just laughs to himself. What's so funny, Naruto-kun, she asks. I think we left Shizuka outside. Kimiko jumps and says, oh crap, I forgot about her. With it she pushes Naruto out of his mind. Outside of Naruto's mindscape, Naruto wakes up with Kimiko in his arms back in her wolf pup form. His head is pounding again. As he sits up he sees Shizuka eyeing him. So Gaki, I hear you want to be the new wolf summoner, is that right? She says. Yep, that's right. Well, just see if you have what it takes then. She says as she sends one of her tails out at him, which touch his forehead, sending his memory into her. Or I'm going to destroy that fucking village if it that last thing I do. How can you stand living there, Gaki? I would have snapped and killed every one of those good for nothing villagers by now. She screams after seeing the last bit of his memories. Whoa whoa whoa, slow down there, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Yes, they may be good for nothing villagers, but I have people I want to protect in there, and as long as they fight for that village, I will fight for it too. He says. Alright, but I won't let them off easy next time. Looks, you're the new wolf summoner, Gaki. It will be an honor working with you. Oh yeah, be sure to keep the scroll with you. The summoning contract is strictly for your mates and children to use, no one else can use it. Okay. She explains. Naruto just nods and Shizuka disappear, but not before she leaves the wolf summoning tattoo near his right wrist. As he looks at it more, it looks like a wolf with 10 tails. The wolf's head was pointed towards his hand. There were elaborate lines going around his wrist. Kimiko just watches as Naruto study his tattoo. She feels a little better after he forgave her, but she still has an odd feeling that she is forgetting something. Naruto finally stops checking his new tattoo. He looks down and sees Kimiko thinking very deeply about something. Hey Kimiko, is something wrong? Not really, I think, but it feel like I'm forgetting something. I just don't remember what it is. She says. After thinking for a bit, Naruto has idea. Maybe you forgot about something in the shrine. Kimiko's eyes widen. That's it, now I remember, thanks Naruto-kun. Come with me, there is something I want to give you. She says as she scampers off through the forest in the direction of the shrine, with Naruto following close behind with the scroll in his arms. Once inside he sees her run towards the hallway straight in front of them. He runs after her. A little later they end up in a room exactly like the one before, except that this one has some different in the middle of it. In the middle of the room there are 2 platforms, one of them has 3 swords on it. 2 of them are on a black stand and the other one is on a white one. The other platform has 2 scrolls on it. He starts examining the swords. The 2 swords on the black stand have full black sheaths and were about the size of a katana, 70 centimeters, and the one on the white stand had a pure white sheath and was about the size of an adachi, 86 centimeters. As he steps closer, Kimiko jumps onto the scroll platform and touches her paw to one of the scroll. Naruto reaches for the scroll and looks at it. He saw that it had the kanji for loyalty on it. And I don't know if the sword lengths are correct, so if they are not, I'm sorry about that. Open it, Naruto, and read it. Kimiko barks. While she sits on the platform, so he does. If you are reading this, then you have passed the wolf boss's test and are now a wolf summoner. The 3 swords in front of you are the legacy of the celestial goddess of the wolves and the son Amaterasu. She left these swords on earth to help protect the pack of the wolf summoner. Use these swords to protect those dear to you and remember their names. The katanas are called Kuroi K's and the Nadachi is called Shiroi Inazuma. May they serve you and your pack well. As Naruto removes Shiroi Inazuma from its sheath, it feels as light as a feather, even thought it should weigh more than him. The blade was full white with a blue cutting edge. He places it back in its sheath and moves over to the Kuroi K's and remove them next again. These feel as light or even lighter than Shiroi Inazuma. The blades were full black, but the cutting edge was crimson red. After looking over them some more, he places them back in their sheaths and he then looks over to the last scroll. Kimiko, do you know what that last scroll for? This scroll is a storage scroll, Naruto. You can put stuff in it. You are going to use this scroll to store your new weapons in it. Naruto unrolls the scroll, then places both stands on it. Now you have channel some of your chakra into it to seal them. She explains. He does so and with a poof they are stored. Whoa, that was cool. He says as he rolls the scroll back up, then faces Kimiko. Now what do we do, Kimiko? Now we head into the main camera and wait. A shocked look comes onto Naruto's face. Why do we have to go there and wait, and for what? He exclaims. Well Naruto, I believe Tsume, Kuramaru, Anko, Mikoto, Kura and I are looking for us right now and by their sense, they are extremely worried about you. She explains. They are worried about me. A sad smile comes across Naruto's face. Alright, let's go into the main room then. He grabs the 3 scrolls in front of him and heads for the main room to wait for the people who care about him. But Tsume and her group were moving north in search of Naruto. They haven't found a trace just yet. They have swept 75% of the northern forests and still have no traces. They have been at it for 2 hours now and still nothing. Hey Tsume-chan, have you or Kuramaru gotten his scent yet? Anko says. Not yet, Anko, the ground's still too wet for anything to come up. Kuramaru barks out. But that they head farther north, nearing 2 miles away from Konoha. Kuramaru suddenly changed course heading east. Kuramaru, you get something. Tsume asks yes, even though it's faint I can smell Naruto. He starts to speed up so as to not lose the scent. Hearing the news the others start to pick up the speed as well. They all have the same thought running through their minds, I hope you are alright Naruto-kun. 5 minutes later they end up at the cave Naruto was in earlier, they look inside and find nothing. A little disheartened they begin to look nearby. His scent is strongest in the cave, but what puzzles me is that I smelled a wolf in there too. Tsume explains. You don't think it hurt him do you? Mikoto responds in a worried tone. Don't worry there was no blood from what I can smell, and from the smell I can say that it was a wolf pup, female to be more accurate. Kuramaru answers as he comes out of the cave. The girls relax a little after hearing his explanation. I wonder where he is. Kurenai ask out loud yeah he is not here where could have gone. Anko replies a little worried now which transfer over to the rest as they start worry as well. Tsume on the other hand has found something you guys I have found his scented heading northwest they go over to Tsume, Kuramaru begins to sniff the area. She right his scent is definitely heading in that direction and what's more the wolf pup is heading in the same way, which means he went that way and she followed him or she went first and he followed her. He finishes his analysis. Alright we can figure out who followed who later let get to Naruto-kun first. Tsume says. Hey he's my Naruto-kun not your Tsume-chan Anko says as she throws another childish fit. Hey Anko-chan he's not yours he mine so back off. Kurenai throws in her claim. No he's not yours either Kurenai-chan he is mine, Mikoto says as well not wanting to miss on her chance to claim Naruto as her own. They go on like this for about 10 minutes. Kuramaru just shake his head if the Hokage planned this from the beginning by sending the 4 of them to get Naruto I swear to Kami that I'm going to tear up his Icha books and pee on the piece. But I got to hand it to the kid he has 4 older women going after him, I'm so proud of him. He wipes away a tear at the last part. He recomposes himself and barks out loud getting them to stop arguing, as much as I would like to see a catfight, shouldn't we be looking for Naruto? He says as he starts to walk in the direction of Naruto's scent. They all turn back to each other, then nod giving each other a finally stare down before leaving. After 40 minutes of run through the trees they begin to see the northern shrine. Do you girls think he could be in there? Kurenai asks. Yup his scent is definitely head towards that shrine Tsume reposes. They hop out of the tree line and run toward the door. When they get to the door they carefully open the doors, as they see inside they see only darkness. As their eyes start to get accustomed to the darkness, they finally see Naruto sitting with his back to the wolf statue in front of them. They rush towards him and start checking him out, they find no injuries. When they finally finish their checking Naruto begin to wake up. He feels people around and automatically gets scared please leave me alone. He says as he tries to shield his face and his head from the blow he thinks are coming. Naruto calm down it's us. Kurenai says trying to calm him down. As he looks up he see them, his eyes widen. Inu Haim, Hibi Haim, Megami Haim, Karasu Haim, Mary-chan, how are you guys? The girls blush at the nicknames Naruto has given them, but Kuramaru just sighs. At least he could have given me a better nickname than that. Naruto why did you give us those nickname? Kurenai says shyly, and add Hinata style stutter in there I'm not good enough to do it yet. The rest of the girls nod their heads too wanting to know his answer. Naruto just smile a genuine smile not the mask of a smile he put up around the villagers. It's because I care about you girls a lot you were some of the first if not the first to truly care about me. You probably don't know how much you all mean to me, you all have places in my heart. You all are precious to me, I would protect you all with me life if need be. The girl's blush increased threefold rivaling that of Hinata's. Kuramaru just smiled this kid is something else. He has the heart of an alpha in him. Once the girls get out their blushing fit, Naruto tries to stand up but can't because he is extremely tried and it doesn't help when a wolf pup is try to get you to lay back down by jumping on your face. Arna Kimiko what are you doing Naruto exclaims. Lay down Naruto-kun you need to get some rest. Kimiko barks. No Kimiko I don't need to rebut before he can finish he passes out. Seeing that he has passed out the girls begin to check on him again. Don't worry he just pass out from using too much chakra. Kimiko barks out. Seeing that don't understand her Kimiko turns to Kuramaru for help seeing as you can speak the human language can you help me out? He just nods he'll be alright girls he just used too much chakra is all. He says. How do you know that Kuramaru? Asks Tsume. Because she told me and since I'm part wolf I can understand her. He says as point his nose at Kimiko. Can you tell them to take the scrolls with them Naruto will need them later and tell them to not worry they are not dangerous. She says and here lays the info to them. What's in the scrolls? Anko asks. She hops off Naruto's chest and skips off toward the scrolls, earning a kawaii from the girl as she skips. The biggest one is the wolf summoning contract which he has signed and he has become a wolf summoner. The medium-size one contains his new swords, 3 of them to be accurate, and the smallest one has the kenjutsu style and the attacks of said style, along with other useful pieces of information. She explains to which Kuramaru translates. Tsume just holds Naruto in her arms while he rests, she picks him up and says come let's go and get him to the hospital and bring the scrolls as well. They leave the northern shrine with Naruto and his scrolls headed for home. Anko, do you mind radioing in and telling everyone we found him and to meet us at the hospital and tell the Hokage to get to the hospital so he can induce some cooperation from the staff, they will not want to help Naruto if we get there first. Sure thing Tsume-chan, Anko replies, then gets on the radio and starts to relay the news and their request. Friends, and training. Anko, do you mind radioing in and telling everyone we found him and to meet us at the hospital and tell the Hokage to try to get there before us so he can induce some cooperation from the staff, they will not want to help Naruto if we get there first. Sure thing Tsume-chan, Anko replies, then get started on relaying the news and their request. 3 hours later, Konoha Hospital Room 10. Naruto woke up to see a white room. I think I've been here before. Yeah, this is the hospital. He begins to look around, that's when he sees Tsume, Kurenai, Anko, and Mikoto asleep on the couch, and Kuramaru was asleep on the floor next to the couch. The Sandaime Hokage and Shikaku Nara are sitting in 2 chairs near the door, whispering to each as to not wake anyone up. When they see that he has woken up, they get up and walk over to him. Looks like you're awake, Naruto, how you feel? The Sandaime asks. A little tried but nothing too bad. He says. That good. Now can you tell me what you have been doing these last few hours? The Sandaime asks. Okay, but first ask your Anbu guards in the corners to leave, he says. Both men's faces were filled with shock. How could he tell that they were there? They both knew he no prior ninja training. So how did he know? Naruto, how did you know they were there? Shikaku asks. Then they both notice his face change, especially his eyes. They look like they were piercing their souls. Do you honestly expect me to believe that any cage, no matter the village, goes anywhere without Anbu escorts present? He says in a calm voice. They both get chills running down their back. They would have sworn that they just heard Minato speak right now and not Naruto. Now are you going to send them or not? He continues. This snaps them out of their daze. With a wave of the Sandaime's hand, the Anbu guards depart. Naruto gets off the bed and walks over to the girls and begins to wake them up. Hey Inu-hime, Hibi-hime, Megami-hime, Karasu-hime, wake up, we need to talk. They all begin to wake up one by one. They look around the room to see the Sandaime and Shikaku staring at them. They look over to the bed and see Naruto getting back into it. They hop up and rush over. Naruto, it's good to see you awake, are you feeling alright? Mikoto asks. Yeah, you are alright, right Gaki? Anko chimes in. I'm okay, just feeling a little treat. Where's Kimiko? I don't see her here. He says, his voice filled with worry. Don't worry, Naruto, from what Kuramaru told us she went out to get something to eat, Tsume says. That's good. He says in relief. So you are feeling alright, right Naruto? Kurenai asks. I'm fine, I'm just a little tried. It's nothing some rest can't take of, and it also helps when you have one of the tailed beasts within you. He says in a sigh. Their eyes widen in shock. He wasn't supposed to know that. It was a secret. Execution was the punishment for speaking about it. Naruto, how do you know that? The Sandaime asked in a worried tone. I think you should put that silencing jutsu up, old man. So he does, flashing through the hand seals and performing the jutsu. Once the room been soundproofed. You are going to have to teach me that jutsu later, old man. Sure Naruto, I'll teach it to you later, but right now can you tell me how you know tailed demon inside of you and what happened yesterday? Okay, everything I tell must stay between us, okay? He says. They all nod. Good. Now on your question about how I know about the tailed demon inside of me, that simple, I spoke with her. Shock fills all their faces. You spoke with it, and it is a she. They all ask at the same time. Yes, when I met her she was crying. He says. She was crying, how come? Anko chimes in. She was crying because she has caused me so much pain. Anko-chan. What did you say? Tsume asks. I completely forgave her because it was not her fault that she attacked Konoha. He says. You forgave her, and what do you mean it was not her fault that she attacks us? Mikoto asks. That's because Karasu-hime, she was being controlled by 2 ninja from this village. Shock filled the room. Who would try to control a tailed beast and then attack their own village? Kurenai asks. I don't know who they are, Megami-hime, but she did give clues as to their identities. And those clues would be. Shikaku asks. Well, she told me that the one who took control of her used a Jinjutsu. She saw the Sharingan in his right eye. He stops to let it sink in. Mikoto gasps. How could someone from my clan do this? Tears were welling up in her eyes. Kurenai gives her a comforting hug. After a few seconds he continues. The other one she didn't really get a good look at, but she did say that he smelled of snakes. Sandaime and Anko flinch at this news. Seeing their reactions, Naruto asks. It could be that both of you know who it is, do you? Anko is fighting back tears, and the Sandaime is looked down with a sad expression. Yes, we know who it is. His name is Orochimaru. He was a student of mine and Anko's sensei. He was power hungry and was one of the candidates for the 4th Hokage position, but I didn't choose him. I saw the evil in his eyes, that's why I didn't choose him, and because of that he became a missing ninja. He says while Anko is leaning into Tsume's shoulder crying from all of her memories. Naruto smirks. So he couldn't handle you giving the Hokage position to my father, so he ran away. How did you about your father Naruto? Sandaime asks with concern. Naruto just sighs. It's not that hard to notice, I mean takes off the whiskers, and I look just like him, and my mother is Kushina Uzumaki I believe. That is right Naruto, she is your mother. Sandaime says. There is one thing I would like to know Sandaime-sama. Naruto asks. And what would that be Naruto? He says. What happened to her? Most of the books say she died during the 10-tailed demon wolf attack Naruto asks. Actually Naruto, we don't know what happened to her. During the attack she was still in the hospital after giving birth to you, but after the attack, she was nowhere to be found. The Sandaime explains. Oh I see Naruto says sadly. After a few minutes of silence Shikaku decides to speak up. Naruto, can you tell us how did you ended up at the Northern Shrine? Sure Shikaku-san. Then he proceeds to tell them about how he ended up in the cave and about meeting Kimiko then heading towards the shrine. Then he talks about become a wolf summoner and the swords. When he finishes they are surprised that he became a wolf summoner at such a young age. That's awesome Naruto-kun, you get to be a wolf summoner. Kurenai congratulates him. Can we see your swords Naruto-kun? Mikoto asks. Okay, where are the scrolls? Right here Naruto, Shikaku says as he walks towards a table near the far end of the room. Okay, bring me the medium size one. He says as he gets off the bed so there will be more room. When Shikaku hands it to him he unrolls it on the bed, then channels some of his chakra into it, unsealing the swords which come out with a poof. Shikaku unsheathes Shiroi and Izuma and inspect it, while Sandaime does the same for Kuroike's. After everyone has seen them they return them to their sheaths. These are some good swords Naruto, you are going to have training very hard to use them to their full potential. You can seal them back up now Naruto. Sandaime says. Naruto reseals them, then rolls the scroll back up. Sandaime-sama, I need a favor from you. Naruto says. And what could that favor be Naruto? He replies, surprised by him using his title and honorific. I want to live in my parents' old house. I know they must have a house somewhere in the clan section. And why do you want to live there Naruto if I might ask? He says. The apartment you gave me is not the safest place to live. He replies in a cold voice. The old Hokage is confused by this, but Shikaku already knows what he is talking about, it not being safe. Seeing Naruto about to open his mouth to answer, Shikaku interrupts. Can I answer that for you Naruto? He asks. Naruto looks at him for a second before he smirks and nods. What he means by unsafe sir is that everyone knows he lives there. The whole village knows where to find Naruto when they start mobs, it has little to no security as well. He pauses to let that sink in then continues. Even if you placed Anbu to watch the place you know they just watch the mobs attack him. Some of them might even join in, which would bring further danger to Naruto. Plus all the attempts by people to adopt Naruto are being blocked by the civilian council and Danzo. So I believe you have no other choice than to just let him stay at his parents' home, and since he will be in between the Nara and Inuzuka clans, no one will go over there without good reason. He explains. We can even change the borders of both clans so that it completely encircle the house, that way if a mob does from we can stop them from getting anywhere near the house, and Naruto Tsume jumps into the conversation. After hearing both of their inputs he begins thinking about it. I don't want to do this, but I think that his parents would rather have him safe in their house than in a cheap apartment with no security whatsoever. Looks like I have no choice but to accept. Alright Naruto, you can live there, if you want we could go see it right now, seeing as the doctor said once you were awake up you could leave. He says. Sure, and can we go get me some new clothes because I have to get rid of all my orange clothes. I can't be a ninja wearing orange now can I? It just screams I'm right here, kill me, he says as he gets up from the bed. Okay Naruto, we can make your early birthday present and I know just place to go. Sandaime laughs as he walks toward the door. Heianu Haim, Hibi Haim, Megami Haim, Karasu Haim, Mary-chan, Shikaku-san, will you be coming with us? Naruto asks as he moves towards the door. No Naruto, we meet you at your parents' house. Okay Kurenai says. Okay, I see you later. 10 minutes later, shopping district. As they walk through the shopping district Naruto is deep in thought. I wonder what store are going to most of the store here hate me. He pulled out of his thoughts when the Hokage says something. Naruto, I said, are you listening to me? Oh sorry old man, I was just thinking about something. What did you say? I said what you are thinking about. He says. Oh, I was thinking that most of these stores hate me, so how can there be a store here that will treat me normally? Naruto answers, a little worried. Hearing the worry in his voice, Sandaime just sighs. He should have known that the store would hate him. Don't worry Naruto, the owner of this shop is an old friend of your father's, he will treat you right. He says in a calming voice. Wow, so he knew about my dad. Well, maybe sometime he can tell me something about him. 2 minutes later they make it to the shop. Naruto is shocked that he has never seen this place before. It was huge, it was 3 stories tall. I see someone shocked. The Sandaime laughs out as he walks in. Naruto walks in as well and is amazed even more. He saw rows of shinobi equipment ranging from clothes to katanas. He had stars in his eyes as continued to look around. He doesn't notice the man behind the counter, looking with the Hokage standing next to him. They start to speak to each other. So does he know about his parents? The owners ask, the Hokage just nods. How did he find out? He continues, he figured it out, all you have to do is remove the whiskers and he looks just like him. The owner just smiles sadly. Yeah, but the people don't want to remove those whiskers, they don't want to believe the truth that's standing right in front of them. Hey Naruto, come here and meet Minoru, he is your father's friend and owner of this store. The Hokage says, hello sir, it's nice to meet someone who knew my father, I hope we can become friends. Naruto replies. It's nice to meet you too, and I hear you are looking for some new clothes, so do you have anything in mind? The Minoru replies. After thinking for a bit, he knows exactly what he wants. Can I have a pair of black pants, a pair of long-sleeve black shirts, and some black steel-tip combat boots? Oh, and do you have a Jonin-style flak jacket in black, and do you have any trench coats and some fingerless gloves in black too? You've been thinking about quite a bit, haven't you, Naruto? Well, you're in luck because I have just what you're looking for in the back. You can find the boots, flak jacket and gloves near the front, and I think you should get a weapons holster while you're at it. Oh, what color do you want your trench coat to be? I want it to be gray with black flames on the bottom, please. He says as he runs to the front of the store. Humming right up Naruto. Minoru says as he walks in the back to get the rest of Naruto's order. Naruto comes back with the boots, flak jacket, glove, and the weapons holster. Minoru comes back in with his order. How about you go put it on, Naruto, the changing room is right there. He says as he points to his left to the door that says changing room. Naruto grabs his stuff and heads in to put it on. When he is done he looks at himself in the mirror. Wow, I look like a ninja, no, but all I'm missing are my swords and my headband. Oh, and I can't forget about Kimiko. He gives himself another look over before coming out. Both Sandaime and Minoru are thinking the same thing. He looks just like Minato, it's scary. Minoru is the first one to speak up. Wow, Naruto, look just like your dad, I can't believe it, I can't wait to see the looks on the villagers' faces when you walk by them. He's right, Naruto, you look like a real ninja, and now all you need now is a leaf headband. The Sandaime says, smiling. Thanks you guys, you make me blush. Naruto says jokingly. The two older men laugh. That's when Minoru says, there is something special about your coat, Naruto. And what is that? He says eagerly. It has a readjustment seal place on the inside of it, so whenever you feel it getting a little small or big, all you need to do is place chakra on the seal and it will shrink or expand to the right size. Thanks so much, Minoru, Naruto says happily. Minoru excuses himself for a second to go to the back, then comes back with a box. Naruto looks at it for a second, then looks at Minoru for an explanation. This box has 5 sets of what you are wearing plus sealing scrolls, 3 sets of kunai and shuriken, 10 exploding tags, and other things, and it's all free. To say Naruto was shocked was an understatement. He again looks at Minoru for an explanation. I'm giving you all this gear because I have failed you, Naruto. I should have helped you out since you first started being mistreated by the village, but I did nothing and let it happen, and for that I'm sorry, Naruto. He says as he bows. Me too, Naruto, I have let countless things happen to you, things I should have prevented. I also wish to say sorry. The Sandaime Hokage bows as well. Naruto's mask fades from his face as he says, I forgive you both. Well, I'm not happy that it took you this long to realize it, I am happy that you have, and that means enough. As they look into Naruto's eyes they see all the pain that villager have put him through, they see that this is the real Naruto. Thank you, Naruto, they both says as the mask reappear on Naruto's face. No problem. Naruto grabs the box, he and the Hokage begin to leave, but Minoru calls out. Naruto, I'm going to give a discount on anything you buy from here now on, okay? Thanks, Minoru, you don't know how much that means to me. He replies as they walk away. In front of the Namikaze household, Tsume, Kurenai, Anko, Mikoto, Shikaku, and Kuramaru are all waiting for Naruto and the Sandaime Hokage to show up and open the door. They would have been inside already had it not been for the blood seal on the front gate of the house. Damn it, they are so slow, where are they? Anko shouts. Calm down, Anko, I'm sure they're coming right now. Kurenai tells her. I wonder what Naruto-kun will look when he comes, hopefully he is not wearing any orange. Mikoto chimes in. Yeah, that would suck if he did wear orange, I would burn it immediately. Tsume says. All the girls are talking about Naruto, Shikaku and Kuramaru have the same though going through their minds. Lucky dog, they are pulled out of their thoughts and the girls are pulled out of their conversation when they hear a bark. They look to the direction of the sound and see Kimiko hop out of the bushes. She skips over to them, then stop and looks around. Where Naruto-kun at, why is he not here with you, she says, which startles them because they didn't know she could speak human. They thought she couldn't. How did you learn the human language? We thought you couldn't, that why you had to have Kuramaru translate for. Anko asks while the others nod. I didn't know either till just now. She lies, hoping that will stop the questions. They all nod before Tsume speaks. Naruto went to get some new clothes, he will be living here from now on. Oh okay, she stops then starts sniff the air. What is it, Kimiko? Tsume asks. I can smell Naruto-kun, he getting closer, I think 5 minutes away. Kimiko says as she jumps around happily with Naruto and Sandaime. Naruto has been noticing something odd since they left Minoru's place, people have been looking at him differently. Hey old man, people are looking at me differently, usually they just glare at me, but now there is something different about it. It might because you look like the fourth more now they might start seeing the connection between you two. Naruto just shrugs, he could care less what they thought of him. When they get near the clan section they head into an unused pathway which leads to the Namika's household. As they keep walking the path starts to open up a little. When they exit the tree line he sees a huge house. It was 2 stories tall and who know how many feet wide. There was a big wall surrounding the entire place. There was a lake about a few hundred feet from the house. The gate had a spiral in the middle of it. That's when he saw everyone there wait for him. Even Kimiko is there. She is sniffing around, then she looks in his direction, then start to run towards him. Naruto put down the box next to him when he sees Kimiko heading for him. No sooner did he put it down when a small gray and black blur tackles him. Kimiko start licking his face happily while Naruto laughs. The all girl have the same thought running through their minds. I wish I could do that. As they start walking toward him, Naruto gets up and dusts himself off. They all think holy carp he looks like Yondaime-sama. So how do I look you guys, he says. You look awesome Naruto-kun, Anko says while blushing. Yeah, you look great Naruto-kun, you look like a ninja now, Mikoto adds with a blush while Tsume, Kurenai, and Anko nod, the blushes on their faces still present. Again like last time Shikaku and Kuromaru both think lucky dog. You guys, can we go inside? Naruto asks. Sure Naruto, all you have to do is put so of you blood on that spiral on the gate. Sandaime explains. Naruto moves to the gate. As he does he bites his thumb, then presses it in the middle of the spiral. Nothing happens, but then a light blue light move from where his thumb is then travels to the end of the spiral. That's when it opens. Naruto walks in, followed by everyone else. Some of them have been in here before, but other haven't. As they walk up to the front door Sandaime Hokage says that Naruto need to open the door by pumping some of his chakra into it, to which Naruto does as he turns the handle. When they stepped inside the house they found themselves in a hallway with several doors that lead to the other rooms. At the end of the hallway was the stairway that leads to the second floor. On their right is a door that leads to a small bathroom. On their left they found the door to the living room and they decide to go in. The living room was rectangular in shape and had a large sofa, big enough for 6 people, and a smaller one which could sit 3, and between them was a low table. There was a dresser alongside the wall. It had photos on it. Slowly he walked over trying to catch every detail of the room and grabbed one of the pictures. It was a picture of 3 kids and a white-haired sensei standing behind them. Naruto recognized the blonde boy and knew this was his dad and his team from their genin days. The white-haired man behind them was undeniably Jiraiya Akihiro Sennin. He met him a year ago. It was an interesting meeting to say the least. Flashback 1 year ago, Naruto was running past the hot springs one night trying to get back to his apartment after losing the mob that were after him. He decided to take a shortcut through the woods near the hot springs. That's when someone giggling, and it wasn't coming from the girls. He went looking for the giggling and found a man with a long mane of white hair down his back in a ponytail. He wore a red gi with a green undershirt and Jetta sandals. His pants were the same green of his undershirt. He was writing in a black notepad with a piece of tissue paper in his nose. Naruto did the only thing that came to his mind. He called him a pervert loud enough for the girls to hear. The old fool did the stupidest thing he could have ever done. He jumps forward knocking down the wall, then turns around and exclaims, "I'm not a pervert, I'm a super pervert." By that time Naruto was already in the bushes hiding. He would be a fool to stay there. When Jiraiya turns around he finds the 2 kunoichi other than Tsunade who he truly fears. They are Anko and Kurenai and they both look ready to kill. For the next 30 minutes cries of pain filled Konoha. When they are done they throw him out of the hot spring area and put the wall back up. When Naruto gets to him he is a bloody mess. Was it worth it? He asks, and in an instant Jiraiya gets up as if nothing had happened and says of course it was worth it. Naruto just shakes his head. So what's your name Gaki, he asks, though he already knows. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, and what's yours? It's Jiraiya, I'm the Sennin of this village. He says. So Iro Sennin, what are you doing peeping on women? Don't call me that Gaki, and if you must know I was doing research. He says. I see, well you keep doing your research, I got to get home before the mobs find me, he says as he walks away. Hey wait, what you mean by mobs Gaki, he asks, but he already knows what is going on. He had a feeling that this would happen when Minato put the 10-tailed wolf inside of Naruto, but he was hoping it didn't. Naruto stops and turns his head around, his mask gone, his eyes show Jiraiya everything, all the pain and the sadness. Believe it or not, but this entire village wants me dead, that's why there are mobs chasing me. I don't know how many times they have brought me to an inch of my death, but I have always survived. People glare at me, other kids beat me up and pick on me. I can't shop for my own stuff because the store owners either hit me or overcharge me. I hate this village and villagers in it. I don't think there is anything they can do to make up for what they have done. He says the last part with a fair amount of venom. He then continues walking, leaving a stunned Jiraiya standing in the front of the forest. End of flashback. He puts the picture back where he found it and looked at the one next to it. This one was his dad and his own genin team, and he saw familiar faces and one he didn't know in the picture. It Kakashi, Rin, and someone else. He would ask them later who he was. As he turns away from the picture and decides to go upstairs, when he got upstairs, he found himself in another hallway with multiple doors in each direction. As he starts to open them, he finds that most look like guest room, but when he get to the final one at the end he hesitates. He feels someone's hand on his shoulder. When he looks up he sees Tsume looking at him with sad expression on her face. "You don't have to go in right now." "Yeah, but I feel like I have to Inuheim," and with that he opens the door. The room was big and spacious. There was a large bed and a large closet for what he guessed was his parents' clothes. There is another door leading into big bathroom. He walks over to the bed and lays down covering his eyes with one of his arm. He just sighs. Tsume walks over to the bed, sit down right next to Naruto facing him. "Are you okay, Naruto-kun?" He just nods. "Yeah, I'm alright Inuheim, I just need to think for a while. Do you think you guys can give me some privacy?" Tsume nods. "Sure Naruto-kun, I better get back home anyway. Hana might think I'm doing something weird if I'm going for too long," she says with a giggle as walks towards the door. When she starts to closer it behind her, he says "Good night Inuheim, good night Naruto-kun." Hokage Tower 2:30 am. A figure is creeping through one of the halls of the Hokage Tower. It comes upon one of the doors in the hallway. It opens it, then moves inside, closing the door as quietly as possibly. It heads further into the room where it finds a big scroll on a platform near the back. As the figure moves closer it takes out an identical looking scroll and replaces it with the one on the platform carefully as to not set off any of the alarm tags placed in the room. When the switch is complete it moves back towards the door, open it and then closes it, then heads into the hallway and towards one of the windows. It opens the window and climbs out, then shuts it. It hops to a nearby tree, then begins swinging down branch by branch till it makes it to the floor. With the scroll in its hands it runs into forest, disappearing from view. Namaki's household 6:30 am. It's early in the morning and Naruto is just waking up. He cracks his eyes open to see the sun shining through the window. Damn, I must have fallen asleep after Tsume-chan left. He gets up from the bed and head downstairs. He decides to check this place out more fully. After finding another bathroom downstairs and a big kitchen, he had found his dad's office and library which had hundreds of books and scrolls. Near the far ends of the library was a cabinet filled with jutsu scrolls. They were divided by class, S-class at the top and E-class at the bottom. He closes the cabinet then continues to look around the library. He finds a section called Kenjutsu, sealing techniques. There was a big book that he picked out from that section, which had all the different types of seal. They were divided by class just like the jutsu cabinet. He was going to learning a lot from this library. While he was still looking in this section, he saw a door near the back and to the left of the jutsu cabinet. He puts away the book he was reading and walks over to it. On top of the door it said Kenjutsu, forbidden techniques. He tries to open the door, but he finds that it is locked. He thinks about it for a second. It's locked. I wonder how can I open it? There's no keyhole, so there's no key for this door. Maybe I need to use my chakra to open it like the front door. He puts his hand on the handle and channels some of his chakra into it and turns. He hears the door click open, so he pulls. He walks into a room with more scrolls. It's a small room. It's about the size of his old room back at the apartment. The scrolls were all well organized and he could see that there wasn't any dust in here. Actually the whole house wasn't covered in dust. The sand must have something to do with this place being so clean, he thinks. He turns around and leaves the room. He heads for the living room and finds Kimiko asleep on the couch. He walks over to her and starts to pet her. He sees her tail swishing happily back and forth. Kimiko begins to wake up and looks up to see Naruto. "Good morning Naruto-kun, did you sleep well?" she asks. "Yes I did, you eat already?" He replies. "Yep I did, I caught a couple of rabbits near the house, how about you?" "I haven't yet but I'm not that hungry right now. I was going to go walk around the village for a little bit, do you want to come with me?" he asked. "Sure, I would love to go." "Okay, let me just take a shower then we'll go," he says as he heads towards his parents' room and into the shower. After a quick shower he comes out with a towel on and sees the box with his clothes that he got from Minoru. He opens it and starts to take out the cloths and the equipment. He starts to put all his stuff in one of the dresser in the room. He unseals his swords and places both of the stands on the dresser. He put on his clothes and heads downstairs. He finds Kimiko waiting by the door. She hops onto his head when gets close to the door. He opens the door then wakes out, closing it behind him. 30 minutes later, Naruto has been walking for a while with a particular ninja in his mind. "Now that I have the look of a ninja I need to start training. Maybe Kakashi Nai-chan could help me." As he is thinking he doesn't look where he is going and bumps into someone, knocking them over. The person that he knocked over is none other than Hinata Hikta. She has dark blue hair, fair skin, and wide eyes, with a tinge of lavender. She wore a cream-colored hooded jacket with a fire symbol on the upper right and left sleeves and fur around the cuffs and hem, with navy blue pants. Naruto has seen her before, but he has never talked to her. That's because she usually has bodyguards with her and they hate his guts. He rushes over to help her up. When he helps her up he notices that she's blushing. She is kind of cute when she blushes. He thinks, hey, and since I can't do Hinata's stutter, you guys and girls are just going to have to imagine it. Are you okay? I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention to where I was going. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, by the way. He says as he starches his head. My name is Hinata Haika, thank you for helping me up. She says, no problem. So what are you doing today, Hinata, if I might ask? Well, I was going to see my sensei so she could help me with my training. She says, oh, and who is your sensei? It's Kurenai, she says. Oh, so she is your sensei, I didn't know that. Mind if I come along? I know her, it would be cool to say hi to her. He says, sure Naruto-kun, you come. She says. Her blush increases even more when she adds the suffix. That's when she notices Kimiko on Naruto's head. Is this your dog, Naruto-kun? She asks. Yeah, but she's not a dog, she is a wolf, her name is Kimiko. He explains as they walk. Naruto-kun, where did you get your clothes? She asks. I got them yesterday, it was an early birthday present, so how does it look on me? He asks. You look great, Naruto-kun. She says, her blush only increasing. They continue talking like that for the rest of the walk. That's when they meet one of Naruto's closest friends, Shino Abiram. He has dark bushy brown hair, pale skin, and he wears a sea green jacket with a high upturned collar. He also has dark sunglasses. His clan are bug users, they have insects living in their bodies, and kind of creepy, but oh well, he is still a badass. Hey Shino, how it going, man? Naruto asks. I'm good, Naruto, and you are looking good. He replies. Thanks, man. So do you know Hinata-chan? Naruto asks. But before Shino can answer they hear a thump. That's when they see Hinata on the floor with her blush at maximum levels. They rush over to her. Hinata, are you alright? Wake up. Naruto says with a worried voice. Naruto, I think she fainted, she will wake up in a second. Shino says, trying to calm Naruto down. A few minutes later Hinata wakes back up holding her head as they help her up. Are you okay, Hinata-chan? Naruto asks. Yes Naruto-kun, I think Wen should hurry up, I don't want to be late. She says, her blush still present as he continues to use the new suffix next to her name. Okay, hey Shino, if you don't have anything to do, you want to come along? He asks. Sure, why not, he says as they start walking. Training ground 8. Kurenai has been waiting for 5 minutes for Hinata. She is normally here early. I wonder where she is, she should have been here by now. After around 15 minutes she is start to panic, but before she can rush off and look for Hinata. She see her coming into the training ground, but she not alone. She is walking together with Naruto on her left and Shino on her right, and Kimiko is on Naruto's head. They having a good time, it seems. They finally get to her. I'm sorry I'm late, sensei, but I bump into Naruto-san and we started talking, then we meet Shino-san and we lost track of time. Hinata explains. It's okay Hinata, just don't be late too often, okay? She says. So how are you, Kurenai-san? Naruto asks. I'm doing good, Naruto, and how are you doing? I doing better, just came to says hi and to escort Hinata-chan here, but now I have to find Kakashi. Do you want to come along, Shino? He says, looking over at Shino. Sure, let's go, he says. They says their goodbyes as they leave. They begin their search for Kakashi. They decide to check his usually spots. After a few spots Kimiko and Shino have his scent, they end up finding him in a clearing lying down reading his favorite orange book. When they finally get to him, so I hear you guys have been looking for me, what's up? He says, not taking his eye off his book. I was wondering if you could teach us some jutsu. Naruto asks. After thinking about it for a minute, Kakashi takes out 2 pieces of paper and gives one to each of them. Do you what those are? It's chakra paper, they both say. It will tell us what element we have. Shino adds. Correct, all you have to do is channel some of your chakra into and it will show us. He says as he gives them his famous one-eyed smile. Both of them channel their chakra into the paper. One part of Shino's paper turns to dirt and crumble away, and the other part ignites and turn to ash, while Naruto's paper gets torn in half, then the halves wrinkle. Kakashi is surprised, he didn't think they would both have 2 elements. His eye smile gets even bigger. Wow Shino, you have earth and fire chakra, I have some jutsu I can teach. He says as he hands him a scroll. That scroll has 3 jutsu of each element. He turns to Naruto. You have a rare combination, Naruto, you have wind and lightning element. He says as pulls out another scroll. This is like the one I gave Shino, but it has wind and lightning jutsu. Hey Kakashi, can you teach us the Shunshin no jutsu? He asks. Shino just nods. Okay, here, this scroll should help you learn it. I would help, but I'm late for a meeting with Hokage. Maybe I can teach you more some other day. See ya. He says as he gives them a scroll each, then leaves in a swirl of leaves. Damn, I want to do that too. Oh well, what are you going to do now, Shino? I'm going home, I need to get ready. I'm going to get a new colony of Kakashi bugs in 2 days. Okay, good luck with that, Naruto says as he leaves. 30 minutes later, Namika's compound. As Naruto opens the front gate, Kimiko hops off of his head. Naruto, there is something I want to give you, it's inside. She says. What did you get me, Kimiko? He asks as he opens the front door. Kimiko runs inside, then up the stairs. He follows her and sees her go to his room. As he gets closer he opens the door and sees her go under the bed and roll a big scroll out from under it. Kimiko, what is that scroll? Even though he asked, he has an idea what it was. Please don't let it be what I think it is. He thinks. It's the scroll of seals. She says, I knew it. He thinks while he pinches the bridge of his nose. Why do you have the scroll of seals? He asks. Because you need it right now, so I took it. She says cutely. How were you able to get it back here? You are a wolf pup. I may be a wolf pup, but you forget I am the 10-tailed demon wolf pup. I can switch into my human form too, but I can only be in my human form for about 2 hours. It leaves me complete drained after I turn back. She finishes. I see, well let's check out then. He says as he walks over to the scroll and picks it up and places it on the bed. Kimiko jumps on the bed and watches him unroll it. After look it for a few seconds, Naruto comes across a useful jutsu. This one looks like a good one. Cage bunshin no jutsu, let's go outside and try it. He says as he rolls up the scroll and walks outside. He gets about 100 feet from the house when he puts down the scroll, begins to try it. His first few attempts were failures, but after 2 hours he finally was able to create solid clones. Yes, I finally did it, now what should I do? That's when he looks at the scroll and sees another good jutsu. It was like the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, but on a massive scale. It was called Taj Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Let's try this one then. It take him less time to complete it than the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, but that because he already has the basics down. Alright, now that's done, let's get to some different type of training. He says, from what I remember Kakashi Nai-chan and Itachi Nai-chan telling me when I become a genin, I would need to work on my chakra control, so my jonin sensei will train me to do tree walking and water walking. Okay, let's do that then. He thinks, then he runs back into the house and gets some training weights, his swords, the Kenjutsu scroll, the Shunshin scroll and the Jutsu scroll he got from Kakashi. He puts on the swords. For the Kuroi Kase he puts one on his left and one on his right, and for the Shiroi and Izuma, he puts it on his back, with the handle resting on the back of left shoulder. He notices that they don't weight him down like he thought they would. Wow, it feels like I don't have them on, that's really cool. He decides to let his clones work on the Kenjutsu, the Jinjutsu, and the Ninjutsu. He creates 415 clones and begins to relays his orders. Alright, I'm going to need 200 of you to go work on chakra control. He says as 200 of them go to work on tree and water walking. Now I'm going to need 100 of you to work on the Kenjutsu style and the attacks. He says as those 100 split in half, one doing the styles while the other 50 do the attacks. I want 100 of you to go inside and look for any lightning jutsu, wind jutsu and jinjutsu. Once you find them, come outside and work on them. He says then they go and do as ordered. Now you 15 will work on the Shunshin no Jutsu, he says, and they go what he asks. Naruto walks over to the scroll of seal and unrolls and start looking through it for any other good jutsu to learn. Kimiko walks over to him and sits down on his lap. For 2 hours Naruto looks over the scroll of seal. He found out the hard way what happens when dissipate more than 10 clones once. He was pass out for 30 minutes and when he woke up he had a massive headache but continued reading. Well, at least I learned the Shunshin no Jutsu. Hello, what are these two jutsu? These look promising, although it seemed that I'm going to need to research these more before I can do them. Maybe my dad's library has something on them. He thinks. Naruto, can I ask you something? Kimiko asks. Sure, what's up? He replies as he keeps on reading. What are you going to do once you become a ninja? Are you going to try to become Hokage or what? She asks. He thinks about it for a sound before he answers, I'm going to leave here, that's first and foremost, then I'll figure out what I'll do then. I'm in the planning phase, so I need to do some more time to think about it and maybe get a little help from someone who is very smart. I see. Well, what about the girls? You are not going to leave them here? She asks. Naruto's face softens when he hears this. If they want to come with me, that's their choice, but if they want to stay, that's also up to them as well. I am not in control of their lives. He says as he gets up and creates 51 clones. He tells them to work on other jutsu like Kawarimi no Jutsu and Hinge no Jutsu. And the final clone he tells to put the scroll of seals in the Kenjutsu room. 6:30 p.m. He is lying on the ground after training with 20 clones on his Kenjutsu. He is getting better, but he doesn't feel like it. An hour ago he decided to dissipate the clones he had training. When he was finished he finds that he has learned how to do the Kawarimi no Jutsu, Hinge no Jutsu, Futon, Renkton, Futon, Shinkyoku, and Raiten. Shichishibari. Those he learned and mastered, but the other jutsu he has yet finished learning some of them and others just need to be mastered. He gets up and walks into the house and looks through the box Minoru gives him and finds several little pills in the note. To Naruto, if you find yourself low on stamina and chakra, these food pills will get you back on your feet in no time. From Minoru. Naruto just smiles, then take one. 2 seconds later he feels almost completely restored. He goes back outside and finds Kimiko waiting by the lake. He walks over to her and picks her up and her in his arm. Let's go to Inuheim's place. Kimiko nods. Okay, let's go, she says. They then leave using Naruto's variation of Shunshin. Their bodies are enveloped in black lightning, then it shoots upward leaving a shower of black sparks. In Yazuka compound, Tsume was coming home from a mission to capture an A-rank missing nin, it went smoothly. She him found about a mile into the land of wind, she was able to ambush him and take him out before he even knew what hit him. She sealed his body and brought it back to Konoha to collect the bounty on him. She was nearing her door when she sees black lightning rises up from the ground, then explodes in a shower of black sparks. She and Kuromeru get into defensive positions thinking it was an attack, but a second later they see Naruto standing right there. "What's up Inuheim, Mary-chan, how are you guys today?" He finally notices that they are ready to attack. "Hey, it's just me Naruto, I was trying out my variation of Shunshin. I'm sorry I startle you." They relax after hearing what he says. "So when did you learn the jutsu?" She says. She walked towards the door and opens it. "Let's go inside and get some tea first, then I'll tell you," he says as they walk inside. 30 minutes later Naruto has finished tell them about his day and about his training. He edits over the part about the scroll of seals. And just says that the jutsu he learned were either contributed by Kakashi or his father's jutsu library. By the time he was done they were both amazed that Naruto could learn so many jutsu in one day and be able to create a variation for one of them. "Wow Naruto-kun, that's amazing. How long you think it will be before you finish those jutsu?" Tsume asks. He thinks about it for a second. If I trained the way I have so far I should be able to master them in less than a month, plus let's not forget that I have more jutsu waiting when I do finish them. He says calmly. "You're one amazing kid Naruto." Kuromeru says. Tsume nods in agreement. "Thanks you guys, so how was your day?" he asks. So they begin to tell him about their mission. Naruto just listen, occasional commenting on things. When they are done it's getting dark, so Naruto decides it's time to go. "Okay Inuheim, Mary-chan, thanks for the tea, I'll see you tomorrow," he waves, then opens his arms. "Come Kimiko, let's go home," he says while Kimiko runs and hops into his arms, then turn to them. "Bye you guys, I'll see you later," she says waving one of her paws. 2 seconds later they are enveloped in black lightning, then it shoots upwards, leaving a shower of black sparks. 9:30 Namika's compound inside Naruto's room. Naruto had finally finished eating dinner and was getting ready for bed when he started planning for tomorrow. He decided he would do some early morning training, maybe run around the village a few times, then he would work on some more jutsu, then once that was done, he would visit Sasuke and see how he was doing, maybe even show off his new look. He opens the door then walks in and gets into bed. Kimiko runs and hops on the bed, then goes and curls up into a ball on Naruto's chest. He starts petting her which gets her to wag her tail happily. "You know what Kimiko?" he asks. She looks up at him and says, "What is it Naruto-kun?" "I'm glad I meet you." "I'm glad I meet you too Naruto-kun," she says. "Let's go to sleep, I want to get up really early to start training." "Okay good night Naruto-kun," she says. "Good night Akami-hime," he says, falling asleep. If it wasn't for her fur you would have seen her blush. It takes her a few minutes to recompose herself before she too succumbs to sleep. "Worries and danger." "Okay good night Naruto-kun," she says. "Good night Akami-hime," he says, falling asleep. If it wasn't for her fur you would have seen her blush. It takes her a few minutes to recompose herself before she too succumbs to sleep. Namika's household 6 a.m. Naruto wakes up, the sun is shining on him, and Kimiko is still on his chest. He wants to get up, but he would hate to wake her up. After some thinking he decide to wake her up. "Wake up Kimiko, we have to get up and train," he says as he start to scratch her behind her left ear. Her tail wags happily at the sensation. As she starts to open her eyes she sees Naruto looking at her. She stretch out her legs. "Good morning Naruto, did you sleep well?" she says. When she has finished her stretching she hops off his chest and onto the bed. "Yes I did Kimiko, come on let's get something to eat," he says as he heads towards the door then heading downstairs. He made a point yesterday to send some of his clones to different palaces in the village under the henge. He sent 2 to the market to get groceries, and he made 10 of them head for the library to read up on anything useful, like cooking and cleaning among other things. And I don't know what people in Japan eat for breakfast, so I'm going with a Western breakfast instead. He let Kimiko out so she could go get herself a couple of rabbits for breakfast. As he began cooking his food in the kitchen, he began thinking to himself, I wonder who would the best choice to help me with planning my escape from here. I think Shikaku, Kakashi, and Shikamaru would be my best bet. He puts his eggs and bacon on a plate, then takes it to the living room to eat. He sits down and continues to think while he eats. I think I need more time in gaining Shikaku and Kakashi's trust. Shikamaru on the other hand, will be easier to get on my side. We've been friends for about 2 years closing on 3. I need to speak with him soon and try to convince him to join me. If he does then I have moved forward in my plans a little. He gets up after finishing his meal and goes to wash his plates in the kitchen. Once he is done he goes back upstairs to take a shower. 30 minutes later he is coming out the front gate. He begins to do his warm-up and then he creates 30 clones. He sends 10 of them to the library under henge and he sends the rest to go start studying Kenjutsu. When he has finished sending his clones he hears a noise by the lake and goes to check it out. He finds Kimiko drinking water and washing the blood off her face. "Hey Kimiko, how many did you catch this time?" he says when he is right behind her. She finishes cleaning her face and turns to Naruto. "I caught 3 this time, they were delicious." "That's good, let's go train Kimiko," he says as he walks away with her following. They ended up running around the whole of Konoha for the next 3 hours, taking breaks every now and again. They were nearing the clan section again. It was their 3rd time around the village. They were exhausted, but they wanted to get to the house before taking another break. When they passed the tree line and came upon the house, they collapse on the ground panting. Kimiko gets up and walks over to Naruto and sits down. "Hey Naruto, how did you feel when you first learned who your parents were?" Naruto just sits up and looks over to the lake. "For 5 years I was left in the dark about who my parents were. Everywhere I went, I saw other kids have fun with their parents while I was left out. Even when I was playing with Shikamaru, Shino, and Sasuke, it would always come time for them to go home, their parents would pick them up while I was left alone." He stops and starts to remember all the pain he has received in the last 6 years. The beatings, the insults, and the glares, everything this village has done to him, he will never forget it, and he never forgive this village for what it has done. He sighs, then continues, "As long as I'm in this village I will never know what it means to be truly happy." Kimiko looks at him sadly because she knows she is the cause for all his pain. Even if he did forgive her, it will still take some more time before she can forgive herself. "But what about the girls, Naruto, what are they to you?" she says. "I don't know Kimiko, for right now they are my friends and adopted family, maybe not legally, but we are still a family nonetheless, and who knows what they will be in the future." Looks like Naruto don't have a single clue about their feelings. "Well, that's to be expected, he just 6 years old, I wonder if I can do something about that." She thinks and then begins to formulate a plan. "Hey Naruto, do you know anyone who can help you with your plans?" she asks after a couple of minutes of silence. "I do actually, there are 3 who can help me, but there is one who I fully trust." "Who are they Naruto?" "Shikaku, Kakashi, and Shikamaru, but Shikamaru is the only I can fully trust," he says. "Really, why is that, and why can't you fully trust the other 2? She asks. "The reason I can't trust them is because they are Konoha ninja, the will of fire burns in their souls," Naruto says. "And Shikamaru?" Kimiko asks. "He is not a Konoha ninja, yet so the will of fire hasn't been deeply forced into him." He says this as he gets up, then creates 120 clones, then sends them off to do studying in his dad's library and the Konoha library. The remaining 20 clones prepare to face off against Naruto. Each one of them pulls out either Kuroi Kase or Shiroi Inazuma, and they then begin to circle Naruto. Naruto himself unsheathes Shiroi Inazuma. A minute later, the front of the house erupts with the sounds of metal hitting metal. For about 2 hours Naruto fights against the clones, taking them out either one after another or 2 by 2. When the last clones goes down, he receives the final amount of memories. "So how did you do this time Naruto?" Kimiko asks as she hops towards Naruto. "I am doing better, and it seems that my stamina is increasing because I hardly feel tired at all," he says. "That's good Naruto, so what should we do next?" she asks as she hops onto his head. "I was thinking we should go and see Sasuke, and maybe we can find Shikamaru and Choji, then we'll go and see what Suma is doing," he says. "Okay, let's go and find them," she says. "Okay, I think I have an idea where he could be right now," he says as he begins his shunshin. They are enveloped in black lightning, then it shoots upwards leaving a shower of black sparks. Training Field 24. In Training Ground 24, a young boy of about 5 has been training since the sun came up. He has spiky black hair with a blue tint, onyx eyes, a blue short-sleeved shirt with a raised collar, and the Uchiha crest on the back, and wide arm warmers along with white shorts. His name is Sasuke Uchiha. He has been coming out to Training Field 24 for the past 5 months now. The reason for that is so he can get stronger and to protect Naruto. He will never forget that day. Flashback 7 months. One of Konoha's many parks. One day Sasuke was playing with Shikamaru and Choji at the park. When Sasuke began gloating that was the best climber ever, they didn't believe him, so he decided to climb of one of the trees near them. He was more than halfway up, it was going good until he had the bright idea to look down. He had never been this high up before. He was starting to get scared, so he decided to climb back down, but as he was getting closer to the ground, the branch he holds snaps, sending him about 8 feet to the floor. When he landed, he felt extreme pain in his left foot. He was in so much pain. Shikamaru and Choji rushed towards him. When they get to him, they saw him holding his leg, crying. Shikamaru immediately tells Choji to stay with Sasuke while he goes to get his father. Choji just nods. Then he takes off in search for his father. He finds him and another jonin named Asuma Sarutobi. He was the Sandaime Hokage's son. He had brown eyes, short black spiked hair and beard. He was a smoker. Every time Shikamaru saw him, he had a cigarette in his mouth. He and Shikamaru's father Shikaku Nara were both playing shogi. When Shikamaru bursts in through the front door, both men look up from their game and surprised to see a frantic Shikamaru coming towards them. They told him to calm down. When he was calm he told them what happened. They immediately headed off in the direction of the park. They got to the park about 5 minutes later and began check Sasuke's foot. From what they could tell he had fractured it when he fell. Shikaku decided to take him to the hospital while Asuma went to go find Sasuke's parents. They made it to the hospital in 5 minutes while Choji, Shikamaru and Itachi who they found on the way made it 5 minutes later. They wait 20 minutes more before they went in to see the doctor who confirmed that he did fracture his foot. 2 minutes later Makoto Uchiha comes in. After that he tells her the diagnosis. He advises that Sasuke should stay off his foot for about 2 months before it will heal. They thank the doctor then proceed to leave down the hallway towards the front of the hospital. As they get closer to the main lobby, they hear someone shout to get some help. They all head for the main lobby. When they get there they find Kakashi followed by Anko and Kurenai. They see that Kakashi is holding someone in his arms. He looks to be a kid, but they are too far away to get a good look at him. When they get closer they find that he is Naruto Uzumaki, the 10-tailed Jinchuriki. They are shocked and disgusted by the damage done to him as both of his arms and his legs were broken. He had multiple cuts all over his body. They have never seen this much damage on person that wasn't a ninja. The doctors were refusing to help him. We will not help that demon. 2 other doctors second his statement. Yeah, get that D, but before he can finish that sentence, don't you dare finish that sentence. If you do you'll have a one-way ticket to the executioner's block in the morning. Everyone turned to the direction of the voice and saw Sandane coming into the hospital. His Kai was hitting the doctors at full force. You will help him, is that clear? He said while raising his Kai with every word. The doctors just nod and began checking Naruto over. While they check over Naruto, Sasuke went over and asked Kakashi what had happened to Naruto. Hey Kakashi Nai-chan, what happened to Naruto Nai-chan? He asks. Kakashi looks down and see the worry all over his face. Although I can't tell you the full story about what happened, I can tell you that the village hates Naruto. Why do they hate him? He has done anything to them, why do they hate him? He says frantically. Sasuke, I cannot tell you, it's a secret. I could get into big trouble for telling you. He says. Sasuke just lowers his head and begins to cry. Hey Kakashi Nai-chan, can you help train me? He says after 5 minutes. Kakashi looks at him with a confused look on his face. Why do you want me to train you? I want you to train me so I can get stronger. I want to protect Naruto Nai-chan from the villagers. He says, wiping the tears from his eyes. Determination replaces the sadness in his eyes as he says this. Okay Sasuke, I teach you, but first we have to wait for that of your leg to get better, then I going to train you to the point of exhaustion. He says with his famous one-eyed smile. Off to the side Makoto, Asuma, Shikaku, Kurenai, Anko, and Sandane were all smiling after hearing Sasuke say that he wants to train so he could protect Naruto. Flashback end. As he finished with his memories he went back to his training. He was training on his chakra control. He was waking up and down trees for the past 3 hours and he had yet to get halfway up it. Kakashi had told him to get to the top of this tree by the end of the week, then they would start water walking. Damn it. He says after sliding off the tree, he turns his body in the air and lands on one knee. He wipes off the sweat traveling down the side of his face before he gets back into position to try again. But before he could get near the tree a column of black lightning shot up from the ground, then explodes in a shower of black sparks. A second later he sees Naruto standing in his new look. He is amazed, he looks like a real ninja, all he need is the headband. Naruto was wearing a black long-sleeved shirt with black pants, along with a black flak jacket. He was wearing black combat boots and black fingerless gloves, and over his flak jacket is a grey trench coat with black flames on the bottom of it and also on the bottom of the short sleeves. He had a weapons holster on his right thigh. Naruto also had 3 swords with him. He has 2 katanas on his left and 1 on his right hip, and he also has an adachi was in his hand. The 2 katanas have full black sheaths, and the adachi has a pure white sheath. As Naruto looks at Sasuke's shocked expression he starts to laugh. Hearing Naruto laugh at him, Sasuke comes out of his daze. Naruto Nai-chan, stop laughing at me. It takes Naruto a few minutes to stop laughing. By then Sasuke is already pouting. So Sasuke, how have you been? He says. I'm fine Nai-chan, I've just been training. He stops when he sees something on Naruto's head. It looks like a dog. It has grey and black fur. Naruto, is that your dog? He asks. Yep, but she is not a dog, she is a wolf, her name is Kimiko. He explains. That's so cool Nai-chan, hello there Kimiko, he says, and Kimiko gives him a playful bark. So Sasuke, tell me about your training. Naruto asks. Sasuke nods, then begins to tell him about the tree walking he has been doing under Kakashi's orders. I see, so Kakashi is having you tree walking, do you know what chakra element you have? He asks. Not yet, but he did say that once I'm done with tree walking and water walking, he will show me which element I do have. He says. So Naruto, do you know which element you have? He continues. Yes, I do know which I have wind and lightning elements. He says. Sasuke face lights up. That's so cool Naruto, you have 2 elements, I hope I get 2. I hope you do too, Sasuke, that would awesome. So have you seen Shikamaru and Choji around lately? He asks. No, I haven't, but you should know where they are. He says. They are either at the park or at Akamachi BBQ, but knowing Shikamaru, they are at the park. Yep, he just loves to look at clouds from there, doesn't he? Sasuke says with a sigh. Well, let's go and see if they are there. He says as he gets up and starts walk. Okay, let's go. Sasuke says as he follows Naruto. About 30 minutes later they enter the park and start to look around for them. They get about half into the park when Kimiko catches the scent of BQQ chips and heads off in that direction, with Naruto and Sasuke following her. Shikamaru and Choji's location. Shikamaru is have a normal day. He was in the park looking at the clouds. One of his best friends, Choji Akamachi, was eating BQQ chips right next to him. Today is a good day by Shikamaru's calculation, that is until he hears Choji scream. Whoa man, this dog is trying to take my chips. He looks over and sees Choji standing with a small dog hopping him around trying to get his chips. And when he hears a familiar voice to his behind him. No, Kimiko, leave Choji's chips alone. He turns around to see Naruto and Sasuke walking towards them. Seeing that Kimiko still won't stop pestering Choji, Naruto has an idea. Hey Kimiko, if you stop I'll get you a nice juicy steak for dinner. Hearing this, both Choji and Kimiko turn to Naruto. Kimiko runs and hops into Naruto's arms, then start to lick his face happily, while Choji just mumbles stuff like, "Stupid dog getting steak. And why don't I get a steak?" Shikamaru just shakes his head and says troublesome. As Shikamaru and Choji walk over to them, they is floored by how different Naruto looks. He looks awesome. I wonder where did he get those clothes. They think the last part because they knew that most stores refused to sell Naruto anything, the other would just overcharge him. Choji finally speaks up. Hey Naruto, where did you get those clothes, man, you look awesome. It was an early birthday present from the Sandame. He took me to a store that was actually friendly to me. The store owner actually gave a discount on anything I buy from now on. Hearing this, the other three boys are shocked at this new piece of information. It wasn't the discount that shocked them, it was that Naruto had found someone in this village that would sell him something for a good price and not overcharge him. Hey Naruto, I bet that cost a lot. Choji asks. Naruto smiles, actually it was free and I got 5 sets of this outfit back at home. The boys were stunned. Not only did Naruto find someone who was willing to let him into their store and give him a discount, whoever this person is gave him free clothes. Whoever this person is, they must care about Naruto a lot. They all think. Shikamaru is the first one to speak this time. Hey Naruto, I was wondering where did you get that dog? Naruto just shakes his head. She is not a dog, she is wolf, and I didn't get her, we found each other. As he says this, Kimiko jumps onto Naruto's shoulder and begins rub her face on his, to which Naruto starts scratching her behind her ears. Kimiko's tail starts wagging happily at the attention she is getting. Soon enough they begin talking about Sasuke's training and Naruto tells them about his, but not too much information. Shikamaru and Choji also say that their fathers are going to begin their training them in their family jutsu. Hearing this, Naruto starts to get worried. Damn, they are starting their training. I need to talk with Shikamaru before they can teach him about the will of fire. They continue talking from the better part of the day. Around 6:30 p.m. they all decide to head for their homes. Shikamaru and Choji are the first one to leave. They wave goodbye then head for home, leaving Naruto, Sasuke and Kimiko behind. As Sasuke also waves goodbye to Naruto, Naruto stops him. Sasuke, do you want to get home faster? Sasuke nods his head, then Naruto motions for him to come closer. Sasuke does so and takes Naruto's outstretched hand. They are enveloped in black lightning, then it shoots upwards leaving a shower of black sparks. Uchiha compound, Sasuke's house. Itachi Uchiha was having a normal day. He had the day off for the next 2 days after a successful A-ranked mission. His team had to protect a family member of Fire Daemon during his visit to the Land of Wind. It went according to plan up until they were on their way back to the Daemon's palace. They were ambushed by 5 missing nin from Kumagakure, 2 B rank and 3 C rank. To say they sucked at ambushes was an understatement. His team didn't even break a sweat with them. Once they were finished defeating the missing nin, they collected their bodies, then proceed onwards. When they were finished with the mission, they got paid extra for the 5 missing nin they had killed. Then they were giving a 3-day vacation. That was a day ago. To be honest, he was bored. He couldn't pick on Sasuke because he was out training so he can protect Naruto. A small smile appears on his face at this. Well, at least Sasuke won't turn out like our father. He was glad that Sasuke didn't turn out like their father. Their father is the leader of the Konoha military police force. It was their father who had Itachi enter into the Anbu. He wanted Itachi pass along information back to the clan so they could plan a coup d'etat. Their plans will fail though. His father thinks that Itachi is spy for them, but what he doesn't know is that he is a double agent. Itachi has been spying for the Sandame command since before he joined the Anbu. He knew that once he got the date of the coup d'etat, he would be ordered to kill his entire clan. He also knew that there were some in the Uchiha clan who were against the coup d'etat. He needs to get the Hokage's permission to spare them. His mother and a few others including Sasuke were the ones he need to save at all cost. As he was thinking he didn't notice the small black spark beginning to form on the ground in front of him. A second later a column of black lightning shot up into the air, then exploded in a shower of black sparks. Itachi immediately got into a defensive posture, and he had a kunai in each hand, ready for anything that came at him. After the sparks had cleared he is surprised to see Naruto, Sasuke and Kimiko, the little wolf pup that Naruto had found. He takes a deep breath, then walks over to Naruto and hits on the head. "Hey Itachi Nai-chan, what gives?" Naruto says as he rubs his head. "Naruto, don't surprise me like that again. Do you know how close I was to killing guys?" he says. As he continues to scold the three of them, Mikoto Uchiha comes outside to see what the commotions is all about. She sees Itachi talking to Naruto, Sasuke and Kimiko. She can't hear what he is telling them so she comes closer and says, "Itachi, what happened?" Turning to his mother, Itachi says, "It's nothing, okay sen, they just startle me is all. I thought someone was attacking, so I grabbed a kunai and was about to attack them, so I was telling them to watch out next time." Mikoto hearing this frowns, then walks up the three of them and says, "Itachi is right, you shouldn't startle people like that, especially ninja. There will be ninja out who don't wait and see who surprised them, and they will attack you on instinct." Hearing this Naruto sighs then nods. "Sorry Mikoto-sen, I'll try not to let it happen again." He turns to Sasuke and says, "Well, if you will excuse me, I have to run." He bows to Mikoto and Itachi, then he is enveloped in black lightning which shoots upwards, leaving a shower of black sparks. As Itachi is turning to go back into the house, he sees that his mother has a sad look on her face. After a second he decides to ask her what's wrong. "Okay sen, what's wrong?" Mikoto just turns around, heads back into the house, saying, "I was just got a bad feeling all of a sudden." She then opens the door and walks in, closing it behind her. Sasuke walks up to Itachi and asks, "Nai-chan, is everything alright with okay-san?" She seems sad when Naruto left. Itachi looks down at him and says, "I don't know Sasuke, but we should keep an eye on her and Naruto, okay?" Sasuke nods then walks towards the house with Itachi. In Sasuke's mind he hopes that everything is alright. Unknown location. A young man of about 25 years is kneeling in front of a picture of two people. As he looks at the picture a single tear rolls down his cheek. He quickly wipes it away and he grabs the katana that is to his right and gets up. He walks over to the door then stops. He looks back at the picture and says, "Don't worry Atom-san, okay-sen, I will finish what you started, I will kill the demon for you." He then turns around and opens the door, then closes it behind him. Namika's compound. As Naruto walks into his bedroom he lets himself fall onto the bed. Kimiko jumps onto the bed as well and walks over to Naruto's head and sits down. After a few seconds Kimiko speaks up. "Naruto, are you still going to Tsume's place?" He looks over at Kimiko and says, "Yeah, just give me a minute, okay Naruto, I'll wait downstairs," she says as she hops off the bed and heads out the door, closing behind her with her tail. Naruto gets up and heads over to the bathroom to take a shower. After a 30-minute he comes out and starts to get dressed. He places Kuroike's on his sides, then grabs Shiroi and Izuma in his left hand, walks out of his room. He walks out into the living room to see Kimiko sitting on the couch. When she sees him she hops off the couch and jumps into his waiting arms. As they head out of the gate, Kimiko notices that Naruto instead using his shunshin he is waking to Tsume's place. "Hey Naruto, why aren't you using your shunshin to get there faster?" "It's because Kimiko, I've been using it too much today, I'm getting tired," he says as they continue walking. As Naruto says this he doesn't notice the pair of eyes that are staring at him from a little ways off. "So that demon brat is tried, huh? That will make my revenge all the more easier." As he says this he unsheathes his katana and begins to move forward towards Naruto. Kimiko hears a katana begin drawn as Naruto finishes his sentence. She immediately warned Naruto, "Naruto, I just heard someone drawing a katana, it's nearby, and it seems as though whoever it is coming this way," she whispers. Naruto's eyes widen. "Crap, that's all I needed right now is someone trying to kill me. I don't think I will be able to get Tsume's place in time." As he keeps walking he is racking his brain trying to look for answer. He finally gets one. "Kimiko, I need you to go and get Tsume and Kuromeru, tell them hurry over here," he whispers. Kimiko's eyes widen when he says this. "No way am I leaving you here to fight alone." Naruto just sighs and grabs Kimiko off his head. She's struggling against his grip. He brings her to his face and says, "Please Kimiko, do this for me, I can keep him busy while you go get help, please," he says. After a second she hears someone getting closer. She lets out a whimper, then nods her head. Naruto sets her down on the floor. She then heads off towards Tsume's place at full speed. As Naruto watches her speed off towards Tsume's place he hears something behind him. He turns around and sees a man about 5'9". He is not muscular, but he is not skinny either. He is wearing some black pants and a dark blue shirt, along with a dark green flak jacket. His headband had the leaf symbol on it. Naruto also spots the katana that Kimiko had told him about. It was in his right hand. The man stops in front of Naruto. He smirks as he sees that the wolf pup is not with him. It looks like that wolf pup abandoned you, demon. He gets into his stance, he is surprised when he sees Naruto put his Nadachi on his back, then unsheathes his two katanas, as gets into a stance he has never seen before. Naruto smirks at him and says think what you will, I know Kimiko would never abandon me. The man doesn't say anything, he just charges straight at Naruto, he swings his katana down, think it would connect with his head, but is surprised to hear the clang of metal against metal. He sees Naruto's twin katanas block his sword's path. The man just growls in anger, your katanas won't save you for long, demon, before this night is done I will see you dead, I will avenge my parents' deaths, do you hear me? He starts to push Naruto back until Naruto launches himself back, letting the man's katana hit the ground. Naruto was cursing himself. Fuck, I should have just stayed home, I'm too tried to deal with this type of shit. I just hope Kimiko can make it in time. The man charges at Naruto again, sending thrust after thrust of his katana at him. Naruto is blocking them as best he can, but some of them still get through. By the time the man jumps back, Naruto has cuts on multiple parts of his body. Most of them are not too deep, except for a big one on his chest, it was going diagonally from his left side to his right. Naruto was breathing heavily, so far he was on the losing end of this battle. He knew if he didn't do something soon he would die before the others could get here. As the man walks towards Naruto, he can tell that Naruto won't last much longer. How about this, demon, since you lasted this long, why don't you sheath your swords, I'll give you a quick death, what do you say? Naruto just sighs and gets back into his stance and says go fuck yourself. The man just smirks as gets into his stance and says I was hoping you would say that. The man charges at Naruto again, doing the same move he did earlier. As Naruto see him coming, everything goes in slow motion and he begins to see his life flash before his eyes. It begins with the beatings, the insults, and the glares. Finally it ends with the better things, the times he hung out with his friends. When he first meet them, each one of their faces he can see clearly, as if they were standing right in front of him. In his mind he starts saying goodbye to them, goodbye Inu-Heim, Hibi-Heim, Megami-Heim, Karasu-Heim, and goodbye Akami-Heim. Naruto closes his eyes and waits for death's cold embrace. With Kimiko a little earlier, as Kimiko heads into the direction of Tsume's place, she can hear the battle begin. She skids to a stop and almost turns around to go help when his words reverberate in her head. Please Kimiko, do this for me. She whimpers, then continues towards her destination at full speed. While in her mind she says, you better not die, Naruto-kun. Nara compound. At the same time all this is going on, the deer within the Nara clan's borders are getting restless and it does not go unnoticed. Shikamaru is watching the setting sun while sitting on his window frame, he hears rustling below him. He looks down and sees some of his family's deer moving about in a nervous fashion. He then remembers something his father told him. Flashback, Shikamaru was herding his family's deer with his father one day. When they started to move around nervously, he looks over at his father for an explanation, which his father gives. You want to know why they are moving around like that, am I right? Shikamaru nods. Well, they move around like that when there is danger nearby. Shikamaru just asks, is there any danger right now? Shikaku closes his eyes and spreads out his chakra until he finds it. Opening his, he says, yes, I have. There is a small wolf pack coming from the southeast, we should move the herd closer to the houses. As they are nearing their house, Shikamaru decides to ask his dad something. Hey dad, how many times have you seen them nervous like that? His dad thinks about for a second, then says, I think that would the 55th time I've seen them like that, but there was one time where they act like I have never seen. They were pretty much hysterical, running around, bucking like crazy. What would make them do that? Shikamaru asks. It was something that everyone hoped would never come to Konoha. It was the 10-tailed demon wolf. Flashback end. Shikamaru rushes downstairs and finds his father playing shogi with Kakashi Haddock. Hey dad, the deer are acting nervous right now, I think something is up. Just then they hear something hitting the window. Shikaku walks over and sees one of his deer. It was a deer named Rikimaru. He was the alpha of the herd. Is everything alright, Rikimaru? Rikimaru just looks into Shikaku's eyes and Shikaku just nods his head. He turns away and heads upstairs. Kakashi just watches him, he sees him come back with flak jacket on and heading for the door. He calls out to him, is everything alright, Shikaku? Doesn't look like by what Rikimaru is sensing. I'm going to go check it out. Do you want to come with or are you staying here? He says as he puts on his ninja sandals. Kakashi stand up and says sure, I'll go with you, as he walks over and put on his ninja sandal. As Shikaku opens the door, they find Rikimaru already there waiting for them. He motioned for them to follow him with his head. He then bound off into the woods with Shikaku and Kakashi following. With Kimiko. As Kimiko nears the Inyazuka compound, she starts to sniff out Tsume's scent and finds it in the main house, so she heads straight there. After another minute she ends up the front door and starts to bark and scratch at it, trying to get Tsume's attention. With Tsume. As Tsume is lying down in her bed after a long day of training, she starts to hear what sound like a dog's frantic barking and scratching. She rolls out of bed and heads down the hall and up the stairs. She was about to head into the kennels when she noticed that it has not come from the kennels, but from the front door. As she opens the door she sees Kimiko fall forward. At that time Hana has come down from her room to see what's going on. As she nears the front door she sees a small wolf pup on the floor rubbing its nose. As finishes rubbing its nose she looks around and sees Tsume and another woman there, but by her smell, she must be related to Tsume. "Kimiko, what are you doing here? Where's Naruto at?" Kimiko turns back and looks at Tsume's eyes and says, "Tsume, Naruto needs your help." Hearing this the atmosphere in the room changes. "What do you mean Naruto needs my help?" Tsume says, a little worried now. "There's someone battling with Naruto as we speak. He told me to come get you. He said he could hold him off for a little away, but not for long." Hearing this Tsume and Hana head off towards their room to get dressed. When they come back the three Himeru brothers and Kuromaru are already there waiting for them. They are talking to Kimiko. When Tsume and Hana come into the room they all look up and nod, then head out the front door. As they head in the direction of the Namikaze compound they can smell Naruto's blood in the air, which makes them speed up hoping to get there in time. All of them have the same thought going through their heads: you better be alive when we get there, Naruto. Back with Naruto. As Naruto waits for the man's katana to pierce his skin, he finds that it hasn't yet. He opens his eyes and sees that the man is struggling to move forward. "Shit, why can't I move?" he says. "That would be because of me," someone says to their left. When Naruto turned to his left to see who it is Shikaku Nara and Kakashi Haddock. Shikaku was holding the man with his Kajime no Jutsu, Shadow Possession Jutsu. Seeing them Naruto smirks and says, "About time." Then he falls backwards hitting the ground. Kakashi rushes towards him and begins to check him over. Just then he hears some movement in the bushes in front of him. He pulls out a kunai, thinking it was more people trying to kill Naruto. He relaxes when he sees Tsume, Hana, the three Himeru brothers, Kuromaru, and the wolf pup Naruto had brought back with him. When the group sees Naruto on the ground all bloody they all shout or bark out, "Naruto." Immediately they all head towards him. Hana begins to Shinsen Jutsu, mystical palm technique, to heal him. Most of the wound are starting to heal, but the big chest wound is not healing properly. As she continues to try and heal Naruto, she calls to her mother. "Okay, sent Tsume look over at her and says, "What is it, Hana? I've mostly healed all of his wounds, but that big one on his chest is too big to heal without more help. We need to take him to the hospital right now," she says. As Tsume is about to pick Naruto up, Kimiko comes out of nowhere and says, "You can't." Tsume growls, "Why can't I?" "Because he could die of blood loss before you got him anywhere that hospital, and you know those doctors would just delay you for as long as they need before Naruto does bleed to dead," Kimiko shouts. Tsume was about to argue when Shikaku interrupts her. "Kimiko is right, Tsume, and you know it. Those doctors will keep us waiting until Sandaime-sama arrives, and by then Naruto would be dead. Then what should we do? When can't just sit here and wait for him to die," she yells. In Kimiko's mind she hears Naruto speak to her. "Kimiko, you need to come back into my body. Naruto, you are a genius. I'll be in a second, okay," she thinks. She turns to Kakashi and says, "I know how to save Naruto." They are all shocked before Tsume asks how. Kakashi-san pick him up and take him inside. She then turns to Shikaku who is still holding the man who attacked and says, "Shikaku-san, kill him." Shikaku just says the only thing he could say in this situation, gladly. He flashes through a pair of hand signs and says, "Page Kubi Shibari no Jutsu, shadow neck bind technique." The shadow that is holding the man's sword splits of and forms a hand as it closes in on his neck. When it gets to his neck it crushes his neck in one quick movement, his body goes limp and Shikaku releases him from the jutsu. As he walks over to the group, Kimiko says, "Alright everyone, let's get inside. I can tell you guys how we can save Naruto then." With everyone heads for the house. Once inside, Kakashi places Naruto on the couch in the living room as gently as he can, then walks away taking a place on the wall near Shikaku. Kimiko jumps on the couch as well and begins to explain. "Okay, what I going to tell you no must stay between us. You cannot tell anyone, that includes the Hokage." Seeing them nod she continues, "Okay, the only way to heal Naruto would be for me to go back into his body." This information shocks everyone. What did she mean go back into his body is what they were all thinking. They look at her for an explanation which she gives. "Promise me you won't get into attack position when I say this." They all nod hesitantly. She takes a deep breath, then says, "I'm the 10-tailed demon." While forgetting the promise they all get into attack position, drawing kunai as they do. She just sighs. They says, "Would you all calm down, or do you want Naruto to die?" They all relax somewhat when they hear this. She just continues, "Now I'm going to need you guys to stay here till Naruto wakes up." She then hops near Naruto's head and taps her tail to his head. A second later she starts to disappear in a swirl of black and gray chakra which goes into Naruto's body. After a few seconds of shock they all start to come out of it. "So what should we do now?" Hana asks as she walks over towards Naruto and begins to check him over once again. "I think we should wait here till Naruto wakes up and tells us what happened and what's going on," Kakashi says as he takes out his orange book and begins reading it, which earns him growls for the two Inuzukas in the room. "Kakashi, you have 2 seconds to put that book away before I tell Rin you took it out when she wasn't around." Hearing this, Kakashi puts the book away as fast as he can, the look of utter horror on his face is priceless. All Shikaku can say is troublesome as he walks into the kitchen to get something to eat, leaving the others to watch Naruto. As everyone goes out entertaining themselves, they all have the same thoughts running through their minds. I hope Naruto gets better. The three Himeru brothers and Kuromaru walk over and lie down next to the couch and wait for Naruto to wake up. Secrets and choices. As everyone goes about entertaining themselves, they all have the same thoughts running through their minds. I hope Naruto gets better. The three Himeru brothers and Kuromaru walk over and lie down next to the couch and wait for Naruto to wake up. Inside Naruto's mindscape, waking up in the familiar Sohra prison in his mind, the last thing Naruto can remember was fighting that ninja, then Shikaku and Kakashi showing up, then he remembered telling Kimiko to come back inside his body, and that was it. He slowly gets up thinking he would be in pain, but he notices that he is not in pain at all. Even though he had all those injuries before, he doesn't have any on him now. Doing a quick check, he finds no cut marks anywhere. His clothes were in perfect condition, there were no cuts or holes in them whatsoever. He was utterly confused, he was about to check again when he hears Kimiko call out to him. "Naruto, come over here." She asks from behind the bars. Walking over to the big bars, he slips right through them, he finds her lounging on a king-sized bed. Walking up to the bed, he turns and hops onto it, making it shift ever so slightly. "Kimiko, do you know why I don't have any wounds on my body? I know I just got cut up pretty bad," he says after a moment. "That would because this is your mind, Naruto," she explains. "So since this is my mind, I have complete control over what happens here," he says. "Yes, everything in here can be changed, but the seal cannot," she says. "Well then, let's change this place, shall we?" Before her very own eyes, the dimly lit Sohra that was once Naruto's mind changes into a bright spacious forest. The area in which Kimiko is sealed turns into a big meadow with hundreds of different flowers in various colors. Behind the headboard of the bed, a big tree erupts from the ground. After reaching its maximum height, its branches start to bloom, which gives enough shade to cover the bed. The big tan bars that used to be there are replaced with big trees. To Kimiko, everything feels so real. If she didn't know better, she would have thought that she was outside. Looking around, Naruto has to hand it to himself. He did a good job fixing this place up. He looks over at Kimiko and see the stunned look on her face and started to laugh. His laughter brings Kimiko out of her daze. She looks over at Naruto and says, "Stop laughing at me, Naruto." He only continues to laugh, which makes her go into pout mode. "I'm sorry for laughing, Kimiko, but your face was priceless," he says as he wipes away the tears. Kimiko just continues to pout. After a few minutes, Kimiko sighs and says, "Naruto, I think you go outside already so I can concentrate on healing you." "Okay, I'll see you later." With it, she pushes Naruto out his mindscape. Outside of Naruto's mindscape, Namika's compound living room. 4 hours have passed since Naruto was attacked, 4 hours since Kimiko entered Naruto's body, and he still hasn't woken up. Kakashi and Shikaku got fed up with doing nothing and decided to continue their shogi match that was interrupted yesterday. The dogs have been watching them play since they started. Hana has been using her Shumsen Jutsu to heal Naruto's body, which she found was healing pretty rapidly, something she credited to the 10-tailed wolf inside of him. After 6 years of avoiding the house, Tsume began to explore it. Every room she goes through brings back happy and sad memories. One of the last rooms she enters is the one she stayed in when her husband left her. She remembered that night as if it happened yesterday. Kushina stayed with her the entire time while she cried away her sorrow. 6 years ago, her husband left her for some tramp that came from Iwagakure. The asshole didn't even have the guts to tell her in person. He just left her a letter on their bed. All he wrote was a single word, goodbye, and with that their marriage was over. Even now she could still feel the pain of that one word. As everyone in the house was going about their business, they hear a groan coming from the couch. The ones in the living room look over and see Naruto rubbing his head as he tries to sit up. Tsume, hearing the groan, heads for the living room. "Naruto, you must lie down, you have not fully recovered from your injuries yet," Hana orders. Feeling the stiffness and pain in his body, he complies and lies back down on the couch. Using her Shumsen Jutsu to check Naruto's wounds, Hana finds that he didn't aggravate his wounds in any way. She sighs in relief. Turning his head towards his left, he sees everyone is there near the couch. "Hey you guys," he says as he lies on the couch. "Hey Naruto, are you feeling alright?" Kakashi asks with concern. "Well, I've been better," he says. "Don't worry, you'll feel better soon." Hana comments as she continues to check him over. "Naruto, can you tell us what happened with that ninja who attacked you?" Shikaku asks. "Sure, Shikaku-san." He then begins to tell them about how he was going over to Tsume's place and about how that ninja confronted him. He then tells them about the battle and what the ninja said. After he has finished telling them about his encounter, they are relieved that they were able to make it in time. After a second, Hana speaks up. Naruto, was it true what Kimiko said? Is she the 10-tailed wolf?" The others nod, also wanting to know the answer. Naruto just nods and says, "Yes, she is the 10-tailed wolf." Everyone's eyes widen. "Troublesome," Shikaku says as he rubs his chin. Well, that would explain how she can speak in the human language so suddenly. Tsume comments. And how I understood her even though I'm not part the Inuzuka clan. Naruto says in a matter-of-fact kind of tone. They all nod in understanding. What happened to that man who attacked me? Naruto asks. They all look at Shikaku, who says I killed him. Naruto. Well, that's one person I won't have to worry about later. He says in an uninterested tone. They all look at each, then Hana asks Naruto, how can you say that? Naruto just sighs. I'm just saying what is true, Hana-chan. Shikaku just did me a favor by killing him. It will send a message to others who want me dead. You know, Danzo could make him out to be a martyr. Kakashi points out. Damn, didn't think about that. Naruto comments from the couch. Knowing him, the moment he hears about this he'll try to spin the event around so that it would be hurtful for Naruto. Shikaku adds. Well, what should we do? We can't let Danzo use this against him. Tsume asks everyone in the room. What about telling the Hokage before Danzo can hear about it, that way he can have time to prepare? Hana asks. You know, that just might work, but who should go tell him? Shikaku comments. Naruto was about to add in his 2 cents when he hears Kimiko speak to him from within his mind. Naruto, I'm almost done. It should take another 3 hours before you are fully healed. Thanks, and I am sorry for laughing at you. It's okay, Naruto, I forgive you. Now get back outside because they are starting to worry. As he comes back out he sees that everyone is looking at him. Sorry, Kimiko was just speaking with me. So what did she say? Hana asks. She said that I have 3 hours before I'm fully healed. He says. That's good, so what are you going to do once you finish healing? Kakashi asks. That's something to eat, then do some more training. He replies. And you forget about training for one day, Naruto. Maybe you can train tomorrow. Tsume says in a concerned voice. Naruto just shakes his head. I can't do that, Tsume. After what happened yesterday, it made me realizes that I need to train a lot harder if I ever want to survive what this village throws at me. He says. Okay, Naruto, but I still want you to take it easy. Tsume replies with concern still heavy in her voice. Yawning, Naruto starts to feel extremely tried. Damn, I'm so tried. It doesn't take long before his eyes close and the sound of light breathing fills the room. After a second, they all hear Shikaku sigh. I think we should leave Naruto alone for right now so he can get some rest. We can come back later and check up on him. They all nod, then Hana speaks up. I think you should bring Rin next time, Kakashi. She is a much better medical ninja than I am. I think you're right, but Naruto does have one of the tailed beasts within him, so by the time we come to see him, he could already be up and around. He says as he grabs his ever-ready orange book from his pocket. Hearing the logic in his words, everyone else nods, then they proceed to leave the house. Kakashi and Shikaku are the first ones to leave, followed by Hana and her dogs. The last ones to leave are Tsume and Kuromaru. Walking out of the living room, she takes one last look at Naruto before she too heads for the front door. A few hours later, it has been a few hours since Naruto had fallen asleep. Kimiko had already finished healing his body, but instead of waking him up, she decides to let him rest a little longer. Waking up from his nap, Naruto begins to rub his eyes as he sits up. He looks around the room and finds that he is still in the living room. Getting up from the couch, he starts stretching before heading upstairs to take a shower. After about 30 minutes he comes back ready for the training he going to do, but first he needs some food. He heads for the kitchen and begins preparing himself a big lunch. After lunch he decides it's time to start training. Heading in front of the house he creates 100 clones. 40 he sends into his father's library, 10 he sends to the library in town, he sends 30 to work on his chakra control, and the final 20 he has fight each other. Naruto decides to do some laps around Konoha, but before he could start Kimiko stops him. Wait, Naruto, I going to come outside so I can train with you. Naruto mentally nods and a second later Kimiko appears on his shoulder, then hops off and starts to stretch. After finishing her stretching they head off. Near the second lap around the village he notices something. He is not even the least bit tried. He looks down at Kimiko and sees that she too isn't even tried. We must be getting stronger. By that time he had all the clones dissipate. He found out that he had 2 new jutsu he had mastered. The first was the Raiten Jibashi and the second was the Raiten Haration. Nearing his house Naruto hears Kimiko whine. Turning in her direction he sees that she's scratching her nose with her paws. What is it, Kimiko? Something wrong? There is a strong scent of wet dog and it's not me. Wet dog? Do you know which way it's coming from? A feeling of recognition setting in. West of us. Holding one of her paws over her nose, she uses the other one to point west. Okay, come on, I think I might know who it is. He says as a smirk appears on his face. 10 minutes later, as they continue on westward, they start to hear laughter and barking up ahead of them. Seeing the break in the tree line, Naruto and Kimiko stop and creeping up to a bush, then peer through it. Looking out they see a boy and a little dog playing inside of a small lake. The boy had messy brown hair, sharp black eyes with vertical slit-like pupils, pronounced canine teeth. He also has the distinct red fang markings of the Inuzuka clan on his cheeks. He was wearing dark grayish pants reaching past his knees and a gray hooded fur-lined coat with the hood down. The dog has white fur that hangs down from his body. His eyes are closed and he has a dark brown nose, as well as dark brown patches on his ears and a dark outline around his mouth. Looks like Kiba, Inuzuka and Akamaru have finally come back. 2 months ago Kiba was given Akamaru on his 7th birthday as his canine partner. Afterward, as part of Inuzuka tradition, all the children and their canine partners will spend a maximum of 2 months in the wilderness, strengthen the bonds between them. It is the first step in their training to become proper Inuzuka clan members. Watching them from their hiding place, Naruto and Kimiko engage in a silent conversation. Which one smells like wet dog, Kimiko, he asks nonchalantly. Both of them, what do you think? She replies while scratching her nose. Come on, let go, say hello, he smirks then stands up. Fine, but you owe me a steak later. Nodding his head he starts out closing, followed by Kimiko. 2 hours earlier in Inuzuka compound. Nearing the Inuzuka compound, the duo of Kiba, Inuzuka and Akamaru were returning from their wilderness training. The 2 months that they had spent together were interesting. At first Akamaru didn't want anything to do with Kiba. Akamaru would pee on him whenever he had the chance or not listen to him, but after a while he started to warm up to Kiba. Now you never see them apart. Walking alongside his partner, Akamaru could still remember the first few weeks of the training. He still felt bad about disobeying Kiba so much, but he knew Kiba had forgiven him already. As the main Inuzuka compound comes into view, the place looked and smelled the same, which was a good thing as they both have missed the smell so much. They couldn't wait to see everyone again. Finally making it to the front door, Kiba takes out the key his mother gave him before he left. Unlocking and opening the door, Kiba enters his house for the first time in 2 months. Hearing sounds in the kitchen, Kiba decides to investigate. Making his way slowly towards the kitchen, he finds his mother cooking breakfast and humming to herself. Getting a brilliant idea, Kiba decides to surprise his mother. Slowly he makes his way over to her. He takes care to step lightly so as to make less noise. His plan, however, is foiled when his mother acknowledges his presence. You're going to have to do better than that to surprise me, pup. She says, not even turning around from making breakfast. How did you know I was here, he asks in defeat. 3 reasons. First reason, I am a Jonin, which means it's going to take you years before you can even hope to surprise me. Second reason, I am the head of the Inuzuka clan, which means I have senses far superior to yours or normal peoples and ninja. Although I'm sure Kakashi's nose can give me a run for my money. And third and most important reason of all, I am your mother, and I wouldn't be a good one if I couldn't tell when my pup got home. She explains as she turns around and pulls him into a hug. I missed you, pup. I missed you too, Aka-san. Releasing him from her embrace, she goes back to making breakfast as Kiba goes to sit down at the table. Looking around, he notices that his sister is not down yet, which is weird because she is usually down by now. Aka-san, where is Ni-san at? Oh, she had a tough day at work yesterday. She got back around 2 p.m, so she probably won't be up for a while. She lies. Oh, okay. Kiba replies. Now go get a plate so I can serve her your breakfast. Kiba is all too ready. By the time she turns around, he already has a plate in front of him and, shaking her head, Tsume begins to serve him a big portion of eggs and bacon. Kiba was drooling at the sight of the food on his plate. Throwing away manners, Kiba just scarf it down. He was a little messily. Tsume was about to scold him for his table manners, but seeing as he hasn't been back in 2 months, she would give him a break for today and let him stuff himself. After licking his plate clean, Kiba slumps in his chair as he pats his full stomach. Tsume shakes her head, not knowing if she had gave birth to a pup or a pig. Taking his plate, she sees him run towards the living room. She follows, wondering where he is going. When she finds him getting closer to the door, she asks, Pup, where are you going? I'm going to outside to play, Aka-san. He says as Akamaru hops into Kiba's open arms. Okay, but be back before it gets dark. Nodding, Kiba opens the door. Walking up to the open doorway, she sees her pup running down the pathway leading into the woods around the Inuzuka compound. It looks like Akamaru has finally started to see Kiba as a partner. Tsume looks down and sees Kuromaru sitting at her feet. Yes, it does. I hope they become a powerful team. Then are you going to start training them, he asks. In a month, she replies. Nodding his head, Kuromaru walks outside, leaving Tsume to close the door. With Kiba and Akamaru running through the forests near his house, Kiba and Akamaru both were noticing that the forest hasn't changed much since they had left. The same earthy smell that they had grown up with was still there. Soon enough, they find themselves in a clearing, and near the middle of this clearing a small lake that sparkled in the sunlight. Reaching it, they find that it is crystal clear. There are some fish swimming aimlessly about. Getting an idea, Kiba decides to hop in, completely forgetting that he had clothes on. Doing a running jump, Kiba jumps in, creating a small splash. Not wanting to be left out of the fun, Akamaru follows his human partner, and his splash was smaller than Kiba's. Hopping up out of the water, Kiba starts laughing, followed by energetic barks from Akamaru as he too surfaces. Floating there, Kiba looks up at the cloudless blue sky and says it good being back home, Akamaru. His puppy companion lets out an energetic back as he dog paddles near Kiba. Yes, it is. I miss this place so much. Looking over at his partner, he was about to ask him something when he smells 2 scents coming closer. By the sense he could tell that one of them was his best friend Naruto's, but he could recognize the other one. Looking over in the direction of the sense he sees Naruto and a small wolf pup coming out the bushes. His eyes widen upon seeing Naruto's new look. Whoa, he looks so awesome, I wonder where he got that gear. Hey Ani-san, Akamaru, it's good to see you guys are back. Naruto says as he nears the lake. Wow Naruto, you look awesome, where did you get your new gear? Kiba says as he gets closer to the shore. Thanks, and I got this from a couple of days ago, it was an early birthday present. Sandai Maji-san took me to a shop that treated me fairly. The store owner gave me 5 sets of this for free, plus I get a discount from his store whenever I go from now on. He finishes. You're so lucky, I wish I could get cool stuff like that, plus where did you get that wolf pup Naruto? We found each other 2 days ago after I was running away from another mob, her name is Kimiko. Hearing this, Kiba and Akamaru let out simultaneous growls. They didn't hurt you, did they Naruto? Kiba asks, the growl still present in his voice. Not one bit, I was able to hide out in the forests behind the Hokage monument, that's where I met Kimiko. He says calmly. In his mind Naruto is glad that Kiba and Akamaru are worried about him. Calming down, Kiba and Akamaru get out off the lake and start to shake the water from their bodies. Dodging the spray of water, Naruto and Kimiko jump back and land a few feet away from the wet duo. Why did you two move away? It's just water. Kiba asks. It may just be water, but it smells like wet dog. It's irritating Kimiko's nose. Naruto explains while Kimiko rubbing her nose, emphasizing that his statement. So why isn't Akamaru nose irritated? That's because Kimiko is a wolf, her nose is better than humans and regular dogs, even Inuzuka dogs barely come close to it. Are you sure? Kiba asks, still not believing him. Naruto was about to answer when someone answers for him. He is telling you the truth, Papa Wolf's nose is better than a dog's or humans. To their right, they see Kuramaru walking towards them. Making it to them, he sits down in front of them. Since I'm part wolf, even my nose is getting irritated. He says as he scratches his nose. Oh yeah, you are part wolf, I forgot about that, Kiba comments. You and Akamaru should go take a bath unless you want to catch a cold, Kuramaru says as he looks at them both. Yeah, maybe you're right, come on Akamaru, let's go home. Akamaru jumps into Kiba's awaiting arms before they both head back in the direction of the Inuzuka compound. Looking at Kiba's retreating figure, Kuramaru finally speaks up. It's good to see you up and around Naruto, how are you feeling? I'm good, I was just doing my morning runs when Kimiko smelled a wet dog smell, and that's when we found Kiba and Akamaru. I see, so are you going to continue your training or do you want to come over? He asks, turning his head towards Naruto. I might go later, right now I want to go see Sandai Maji-san. Are you going to tell him about what happened yesterday? No, I'm not going to tell him, I'll leave that to you guys. Naruto says as he's shaking his head. Oh I see, well see you later Naruto. He said before heading in same direction that Kiba had left. Turning to his left he sees Kimiko waiting patiently. Come on Kimiko, let's go back to the house. But I thought you said we were going to go see the Hokage. A look of confusion appears on her face. Yes, but I'm sweaty from training, so I'm going to go take a shower. Oh okay, let's go, she says as she hops into his open arms before Naruto uses Shunshin to get back home. Hokage's office. The day was not a good day for the Sandai Hokage. The hated enemy of all cages was sitting on his desk. Paperwork. It was starting to pile up and there was no end in sight. The stack on his desk just kept getting taller and taller. He thought about burning it many times over the last couple of hours, but he would just sigh and continue working. It was now near 1:30 in the afternoon when he heard a knock on his door. He was sure he had no one see today. After a second he says enter. As the door opens he sees the boy who he sees as a grandson walking in with a wolf pup of his on his head, wagging its tail happily. Naruto was wearing his black flak jacket over a black long-sleeved shirt with black pants. He was also wearing black steel-tip combat boots, and over his flak jacket is a black trench coat with gray flames on the bottom of it and also on the bottom of the short sleeves. He was also wearing black fingerless gloves with a metal plate on the back of them. On either of his hips were his twin black katanas Kuroike's, and in his left hand was the single white Nadachi Shiroi Inazuma. He still could fight the overwhelming feeling that Minato was stand right in front of him. Hey Aji-san, how are you? Hello Naruto, I'm doing good, and yourself, he says with smile on his face. I'm good, I've been doing a lot of training lately, Naruto says as he sits down in the chair in front of the desk. So he's been training, has he? I wonder who has been training him. Naruto, can I ask who has been training you? He asks. No one, I've been training myself. Oh, so what have you been working on? I have been training on my Kinjutsu, Jinjutsu, Ninjutsu, Kenjutsu and my chakra control. A look of surprise appears on his face as he hears what kind of training Naruto is doing. How can he do all that? It's too much training for him to do all in one day. Seeing the look of confusion on the Sandai face, Naruto says. I have a special way of training, he tells him, and before he can ask what kind of training Naruto asks. Aji-san, can I have a Sanin level travel passport? Hearing this, the Hokage flat out refuses. You know I can't do that, Naruto. If I tell you how to defeat your greatest enemy, will you give me one? The confused look returns to the Hokage's face. Who is my greatest enemy? The only enemy I've ever really had was the Sandaime Tsuchikage. Naruto, who might this enemy be? His voice was laced with interest. That would be your paperwork. The Hokage's eyes widen as he hears that Naruto knows how to defeat his most hated enemy. Naruto, please tell me how to defeat it. He pleads from his chair. I will, but first, what about that travel passport with the speed matching the Hiraishin no Jutsu Flying Thunder God technique? The Sandaime takes out a piece of paper from the first drawer of his desk and starts filling out it and signing it before he hands it to Naruto. Checking it over, Naruto sees that everything is correct. Please, Naruto, tell me how to defeat it. The pleading his voice was double that of before. 2 words, Aji-san Kage Bunshin. The look on the Sandaime's face was priceless. Naruto had to fight back his laughter as the Hokage bangs his head onto his desk. Stupid, how could I forget something so important? Slumping into his chair, the Hokage bringing out his favorite pipe out from his robes and lights it with a small fire jutsu. Taking a long drag, he exhales the smoke into the air. A smile appears on his face as he addresses Naruto. Naruto, sometimes I forget that you're his son. Thank you for telling about that, maybe now I can get some work done. Standing up from his chair, the Hokage forms the hand sign and 3 clones appear and start on the paperwork. Walking over to Naruto, he motioned for him to follow, which he does. Leaving the tower, they head off in search of something to eat. Walking into the restaurant district, they end up at Naruto's favorite place in all of Konoha. Ichiraku Ramen Bar. Pushing the curtains out of the way, they walk inside. Inside, they find 2 people currently working, one is a woman and the other is a man. They are the father and daughter team in charge of the Ichiraku Ramen Bar. The woman's name is Am, she has long brown hair, brown eyes and has fair skin. She was wearing a white robe with the sleeves folded, a dark blue apron with ribbon ties at the top, and a bright white bandana that keeps her hair back. The man is named Tucci. He has short blackish gray hair and is wearing the same white robe as Am. A white cook's hat adorns his head. Turning to see their new arrivals, Am's eyes widen as she sees it's the Hokage, Naruto, and Grey Puppy, which is on Naruto's head. Her eyes widen even more when she sees Naruto's new look. Whoa, he looks like a ninja now. Where did he get those clothes from? Seeing that she has stopped working, Tucci looks over at her, then follows her eyesight. His eyes widen at the sight of their 2 new arrivals. Hokage-sama, Naruto-kun, what are you doing here? Am says as comes out here days. Well, Naruto was able to help me out with a little problem I had, so I'm treating him to lunch for today. The Hokage replies. I see, well, I'm happy that Naruto was able to help you out. Tucci comments. You guys are making me blush, stop it. Naruto says from his stool, earning laughter from the other 3. So what would like to get, Naruto? The Hokage asks from his stool. Give me 3 big bowls pork ramen, please. Okay, Naruto, coming right up. Tucci says as starts working on Naruto's orders. What about you, Hokage-sama? Am asks as she looks at him. Nothing for me, thanks. Am begins helping her father with the food order while Naruto and the Hokage chat away. So Naruto, how do you like it being in your parents' house? The Sandaime asks as they wait for Naruto's food. I love it, I feel utterly safe in that house. It's the first time I have ever felt like that too. Dear Naruto-kun, Am says as she hands him his first bowl of ramen. Thanks, Am-chan, he says as he takes the bowl from her. Naruto-kun, where did you get that dog? She asks as she stares at Kimiko. Shaking his head, Naruto replies. She is not a dog, Am-chan, she is a wolf, and we met a few days ago while I was hiding from those mobs. Those mobs didn't hurt you, did they? She asks in a concerned voice. No, I was able to get out of the village before they were able to find me, and because of the storm I ended up hiding in a cave, which is where Kimiko found me. He explains. I like her name. She says, earning a bark for Kimiko, who waging her tail happily. She says thanks. He says as he continues to chow down on his first bowl. Both Tucci and Am are shocked by this information. You can understand her? Am asks in confusion. Nodding, Naruto replies, yes, I can understand her. Finishing his first bow, he sees Am handing him the second, so he takes it and starts to dig in. By the way, Naruto, where did you get your new clothes? Tucci asks as he creates Naruto's third bowl. Putting down his half-eaten bowl of ramen, Naruto gives off a small smile. A couple of days ago, Aji-san and I went to a shop owned by a man named Minoru. He gave me 5 sets of these clothes for free, and he told me whenever I come to buy stuff from him now on he'll give me a discount. Wow, Naruto, you're so lucky, Am comments. She right, Naruto, you are extremely lucky, Tucci says as he finishes Naruto's final bowl and gives it to Am. Handing Naruto the third bowl, he takes it, while Am takes the 2 empty one and begins to clean them. 20 minutes later, after finishing his third bowl, Naruto and the Hokage stay at the shop to talk with Am and Tucci. About 10 minutes into their stay, the Hokage was called away to deal with some Hokage business, but not before he paid for Naruto's meal. After another 10 minutes, Naruto decides that it's time to leave as he remembers that he would visit Tsume's place after went to visit with the Hokage. Saying his goodbyes to AM and Tucci, Naruto heads off into a deserted alleyway before using his shunshin. In Yazuka compound a couple hours earlier. It has some time since Kiba, Akamaru, and Kuramaru left. Tsume had nothing to do today. She had the week off after her last mission, so she had more time to do stuff around the house. She had finished most of the chores already, so for now she would relax. She was currently in the living room relaxing on the couch when she heard Hana coming down the stair. A few seconds later she hears her daughter asks her by the smell. It seems Kiba and Akamaru are back. A yawn leaves her mouth at the end. Looking up, her daughter Tsume says, "You just missed them, they went out to play. Kuramaru might have followed them." Sitting down on the couch, Hana remembers it's been 6 years since her mother stepped foot in Naruto's parent house. "So Aka-san, how was it like being back inside Naruto's house? You haven't been in there in what, 6 years?" Hana asks. "It was weird how much it stayed the same. I thought after all that time I would forget how it looked, but it was the opposite, it was just same." Tsume explains. "Is it a bad thing that it is the same?" Hana asks. Shaking her head, Tsume says, "No, but I wish it did change, then maybe those memories wouldn't come back." Tsume's expression saddens as she remembers all the things that have happened in that house. Both good and bad ones. The house reminded her of her two best friends. The Yondaime Hokage Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki. Tsume couldn't believe it when she heard they died 6 years ago. Minato died sealing the 10-tailed wolf within Naruto, and Kushina, although on paper was listed as having died during the attack, her body was never found. It was as if she just disappeared. None of the Inyazuka clan members could find her scent anywhere other than the hospital room she was in. Tsume would have kept remembering, but she brought back to reality when she smells a wet dog smell coming closer to the compound. By the smell she knew it was her pup and his partner. They must have gotten themselves wet. Hana, seeing her mother wrinkle her nose, she asks, "What up, Aka-san?" Looks like Kiba and Akamaru got themselves wet. Seconds after that Hana begins to smell it. Yup, they got wet alright. Turning their heads they see the door open and a very wet Kiba and Akamaru walk in. "Up, how did you two get so wet?" Tsume asks for her place on the couch. Scratching the back of his head, Kiba replies. "Well, we found a lake while we were going through the forest, so we just jump in and started playing in the water." "Go take a shower." Tsume orders with a sigh. Kiba nods, then goes to take a shower. She watches him run up the stairs with Akamaru right behind him. Tsume shakes her head before turning back to the door and sees Kuramaru walk in. He walk over and sits in front of Tsume and Hana. "I saw Naruto earlier." Kuramaru says, making the two Inyazukas on the couch start to question him. "Did he look okay?" Hana asks him. "How was he doing?" Tsume asks right after her daughter. "He was fine, he told me had just finished his morning workout when Kimiko smelled Kiba and Akamaru, that when they found them." Kuramaru explains. Tsume was a little mad that Naruto was still training even though he was hurt earlier, but it was only a workout, so he couldn't be training that hard. He might come over later after he goes to see the Sandaime Hokage. This statement brings a flash of concern over Tsume and Hana. Is he going to tell the Hokage about what happened? They both think. "Do you think he is going to tell the Hokage about what happened?" Tsume asks, her voice is laced with concern. Shaking his Kuramaru replies, "No, he told me that it was up to us to tell the Hokage about what happened." The Inyazukas sigh in relief at this news. "We should start cooking something, Aka-san, he will be hungry when he comes over," Hana says, turning her head to her mother. Nodding her, Tsume agrees. Yes, he will be hungry. Getting off the couch, Tsume and Hana head for the kitchen to prepare dinner. 2 hours later, walking towards the Inyazuka compound, Naruto was currently thinking about what he would do now that he had a Sannin level travel passport. He could go out and travel, but he knew he could do some much more than take. Then as he was nearing the compound he got an idea. "The one thing I need most is experience, so in order to get I need to face off against some good opponents. Now who could I face off against? Bandits would be a good choice, nobody will miss them if I kill them." Deciding on that, Naruto continues toward the Inyazuka compound. Walking up towards the door, Naruto can smell something good, and so can Kimiko. Knocking on the door he waits, but not for long as the door opens and Kiba lets him in. Walking in he can see Kuramaru and 3 Hamaru brothers in the living room. Kuramaru is lying on the couch watching the other 3 play, fighting amongst themselves. He is making sure that they are not getting too rough and break something. Walking past them he waves at Kuramaru and gets a nod from him before he turns back to watching the 3 siblings. Walking into the kitchen, Naruto sees Hana and Tsume making dinner. "Dinner will be ready in a minute, Naruto, why don't you and Kimiko wait in the living room?" Tsume says while she continues to cook. "Okay," Naruto replies as he head back towards the living room. Sitting next to Kuramaru he watches the 3 brothers continue to play fight. Eventual Kimiko hops off of Naruto's head and lies down on his lap. Eventual Tsume calls out to them, "Dinner's ready." Heading for the kitchen, the dogs head for their bowls, while Kiba, Naruto, and Kimiko head for the table. Pulling out a scroll from his flak jacket, Naruto unseals a steak and a plate. He put the steak on the plate, then puts it in front of Kimiko so she can eat. 40 minutes later dinner was done and the dishes were cleaned. Sitting in the living room everyone started chatting about their day till it was Naruto's turn to tell. So Naruto, I hear you did some training today, tell us about it. Hana asks. Well, I learned 2 new jutsu today. Oh, which ones are those, Naruto? Tsume asks as she jumps into the conversion. The Raiten. Jibashi and the Raiten. Haration. Those 2 are good offensive jutsu, Naruto. Did it take you long to learn them? Hana asks. No, they were very easy to learn. He replies. Then you must have a strong affinity for lightning, Tsume comments. I also have an affinity for wind, Naruto adds. Making the 3 Onitsuka go wide-eyed. Wow, Naruto, you have 2. Not many people have 2 types of chakra, Hana says. That's so cool, Naruto. I wonder what kind of chakra I will have, Kiba adds excitedly. Who knows, you may even have 2 types as well, Kiba. Naruto says in a matter-of-fact kind of tone. The conversation continues on until Naruto notices how dark it is. I think it's time for me to go looking outside. Tsume agrees. Yes, it's getting dark, you should get going before it gets any darker. Opening the front door, Naruto says goodbye to everyone before using the Hishunshin. 10 minutes later, making back home, Naruto head for his room, taking off his clothes. When he is inside, he heads for the shower. After finishing his shower, he puts on a white short-sleeved shirt and a pair of gray sweats. He hops into bed, followed closely by Kimiko, who lies down on his stomach. Hey Naruto, what are you going to use that travel passport for? Kimiko asks. I'm going to use it to gain experience in battle. He says. How are you going to gain that, Naruto? By finding and killing bandits and maybe even some missing nin, he says calmly. I see, so that how you are going to get it. Yep, they won't be missed, plus I'm pretty much helping the world by doing this. Naruto says it as if it was the natural thing to say. Let's get some sleep, Kimiko. Okay, good night, Naruto, she says. Good night, Kimiko, he says, falling asleep. Unknown location. A man stands in a giant dark chamber. There is barely any light, except for a few torches near the walls. Another man appears in a swirl of leaves, then he kneels in front of the man already there. This man is wearing classic hanbok gear. A face mask hides his face, it is a raven mask. Report, the man who is standing commands. Sir, I have found out when my clan will attempt the coup d'etat. Oh, and when is it? In 2 days, sir. So they pick October the 10th as the day. The one standing smirks. So these traitor intend to use the demon as a distraction while they launch their coup d'etat. And on that day you are to carry out the orders I gave you, kill every single one of your clansmen. A kneeling man hesitate to answer. The one stand reaffirms his order. Did you not hear me? You are to kill every one of your clansmen, and I mean everyone, is that understood? Itachi Uchiha. Taking off his mask, Itachi's eyes reveal his Manjukum Sharingan. His eyes are filled with so much hate for the man in front of him. Looking down, he says, I understand, Danzm-sama, but now go and do not fail me or you will regret it, Danzm says as he turns away from Itachi, who leaves via Shunshin. What if Naruto finds the wolf summoning contract harem? Thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel, and leave a like if you guys need the next part, comment down, and thanks for watching the video and see you guys in the next video.